Hello, everyone, and welcome back to NASA Season 2. I am here with Sloth making his NA debut as a caster, being one from over the coast in EU. How's it going, Sloth?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm getting mentally ready for a few great games. Mainly because if I'm gonna be honest with you a little bit, I'm not fully confident on my NA meta read of things. But I'm sure it's gonna be great, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of fun games out of it as well. And honestly, I'm just excited to get involved over in NA a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Seeing a lot of the EU meta, there's definitely things that differ from EU to NA. I guess one of the big things is the usage of Mako too, right?
Yeah, true.
Mako is one of the picks that in general most of EU hates, but I think you're one of the few goalies who actually does enjoy Mako, right?
Yeah. I feel like Mako does hold her place as well. Obviously, in the meta, most of you won't agree, but let's be honest, most of you also still plays Kai goalie a lot. So it's a give and take. Different regions, different metas. But for today, I'm mainly excited to see what these teams are going to be bringing to the table and what they're going to be ending up playing. And maybe I can get something out of it as well. Maybe get some of the NA picks more active on the EU side after I've had a closer look at them.
Hey, one of those NA picks that we might see today or might get banned out is that Juno goalie out by Pensando and later to be seen maybe from Cakes, right? But the Juno goalie is obviously, something we've seen in EU as well from Alex, right? But I want to see if this Juno goalie will fall to Pensando or if the side of PPL will choose to ban it, right? Because he is, every time he's gotten it, he is shown to be so dominant on the pick that it's just struck fear into the hearts of everyone else.
Yeah, I mean Juno Goalie does has a lot of like the skill ceiling. I feel like is pretty high, right? There's a lot of value that can be taken out of it, especially if you can play it. Question is just, are you able to execute it? And as you said, it's going to be a big part on, is it going to go through a pick and ban? Is it not going to go through? Just happy to figure it out. But generally speaking, we already have a few maps ahead of us. Obviously, what do you think?
Yeah, Night Market, Clarion Test Chamber, and Atlas Lab. We're first going over to PPL's map pick. This is going to be a pretty fun map because, especially with Fire Maiden on the side of Flying Blobos, he loves Magnetized Souls, and this map is one of the best for Magnetized Souls. Now, Flying Blobos opting for the IME here on Pensando. This is a pick I haven't seen him pilot much, but I'm excited to see, right? And with Primetime Knife's Edge start, both this Asher and this Julie are really going to be scary.
Yeah, they're going to be extremely scary, actually. And keep in mind as well, the Asher specifically, with the Knife's Edge start, also being backed up by Mako that can speed off, and now in net as well. So there's even more speed on the ground that can be taken advantage of. So Alex can end up finding those edge KOs as we're starting off the game, though, and the first barrier has already fallen.
Yeah, first berry's fallen, but I think one thing I want to talk about is the double magnetized souls on the team you'd probably expect to pick it up less, right? The side of PPL picking up this double mag souls on also a double brawler with double knife's edge. You're going to see both of these brawlers actually having maybe even a similar level of impact to what most midfielders can have.
Yeah, especially with that Max Souls pickup, right? They're definitely looking to play around that halfway line, looking to dominate that area as much as they can, and set themselves up for impossible defensive situations like this. Because there's so much you can do. You can be the best goalie in the world, but if you're facing an Asher and a Mako in front of an open goal, this is going to be pretty rough to defend.
I mean, that goes even more so for when you're playing something like that IME goalie, right? If you're playing that IME goalie, you're going to struggle when you have these two brawlers just in your face. And, well, we're going to have to see if Pensando can figure out a way to work with that, or if he just doesn't get to deal with it, as his forwards will continue to keep this offense going, especially with Fireman having that great Magnetized Souls, but an even better snipe out by Fiery than average Alex. The side of Flying Blobos might be struggling here on this defense.
Yeah, Flying Blobos did just have that great defense or attack to get the top both of the enemy barriers, but a clean attack takes double barriers, and another clean setup from the side of PP Legends ends up taking the goal here. Alex was taken off of the map, but I feel like that's a fair trade. A kill for a goal, putting you one away from winning the first set. I think that's something you're taking every day.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, yes, it resets the energy, and while that double barrier might be what Flying Blobos needs, and with the energy on Alpha Meme, he might look for something, but there's that kill off the energy but still nothing to be converted yet. We're going to see if Alpha Me and Fireman can figure out a way to get this past this double brawler, but also a double goalie of PP Legends. And, well, in the end they do, but it did take a little bit more effort than we were hoping for them to use.
Yeah, it ended up getting pretty close towards the end as well, as Bloom was always almost back up again. But they do find the goal, and hopefully they can ride this momentum. You're also looking at Fireman getting close to Flip here, so maybe he can use that for another cheeky double barrier if they find the angle. But Fiery also setting himself up now with a Flip in front of net, getting defended cleanly though from the side of Flying Blobos.
Yeah, defending out pretty cleanly, and now Fireman, he also has to worry a little bit for his own life, especially after burning that Flip, not having any more energy to deal with the brawler damage of PP Legends. But he just continues to use the speed, this Magnetized Souls, this Knife's Edge, and also just the blazing pace to run and close distance and in hopes of finding these barriers. And oh, that missed strike by Alpha Me means they don't get that barrier, and it's answered by PP Legends.
Yeah, we're now looking at a 1-for-1 situation in barriers. The core is trying to be set up for PP Legends. They're trying to make use of that Giga Force that they can create in those characters, but they're just not quite able to get the core close enough to the barrier for it to matter. Pensado doing a really good job with the Amy abilities on glitch pops and jumps to just keep that core away as far as possible, as that's kind of the only play you have when you play something like an Amy into those characters.
Yeah, he's trying his best, but despite that, PP Legends is finding their way in, and a great clear out by Fireman through that Ensnare Drums means that it's not just a locked barrier, and that Flip means that Alpha Me does find the second barrier. They might just be ending right here, and a great Giga Blast from Fireman finds it.
Giga Blast sneaks it through the defense of PP Legends completely. Bloom not able or not willing to bring out that Flip in time. But that's now an upside for the side of PP Legends for this last goal in the set, right? There's a Flip on the Now. Maybe you can start looking for an ultimate on Now. Get up front, get a cheeky Flip for a barrier. Or you can just continue to hold it to maybe save against other barriers from the side of Flying Bubbles as well.
Yeah, definitely. You might need to save that. And okay, there's that Flip having to be used defensively in fear of losing that double barrier. Does lose one for it, but still not the end of the world, as Fiery has a Flip to work with, especially on this offense. And dropping that Ensnare Drums, dropping this Path Splitter, all these offensive tools of PP Legends are falling really fast with nothing to show for it.
Yeah, and you saw it as well. There's a lot of damage being put out into Alex, but immediately healed up by Maloom in the back, as Fiery is just setting up perfectly to take a double barrier. And now a great offense as well from the side of Alex and Fiery. Give them that third goal of the set, and they will take set one. And they're looking for a lot of momentum in this draft now.
Yeah, looking at these draft, right? Some good stuff for Mako. I'm sure she doesn't mind starting to scale with the Spark of Strength, maybe opting for some speed instead, or just the Unstoppable to avoid dying to the Julie.
Yeah, the thing that I have my eyes on, even though it's not as strong as it always used to be, there is still a Monumentalist in this draft, right? And it looks like the Monumentalist might fall all the way down to Maloom. He does not go for it, though. He opts for the Timeless Creator instead.
Yeah, interesting pickup, I guess, just also as a deny from the Aimi. He recognizes that Monumentalist is good for him, but Timeless Creator is also so great for this Aimi, who's going to want to jump forward, but Aimi still gets the Unstoppable. Maybe not nearly as good as if she were to play into like a Julie or Erasmus, but still solid enough to deal with this Asher. And, well, that's the first barrier falling on both sides, but I still feel like I favor PP Legends in this.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. You get the size on Asher, which is obviously huge. The explosive entrance for Mako is going to allow for even more enabling on the speed, and a tiny bit more damage as well. That can be the difference maker. So I do feel like PP Legends have found what they want in this draft, and you can see that as well in the way they're executing it currently, finding another goal.
Yeah. I think part of it also is just, I feel like the side of PP Legends is on the same page a little bit more than the side of Flying Blobos. I think Fire Maiden and Alpha Me, while both are doing solid individual plays, it just feels like they're not working together as much as I really wish they would. And this is an issue I think, saw during qualifiers, right? Flying Blobos, in general, had a very solid defense, and in this game, they haven't really gotten to show it nearly as much just because of how brutal the Mako Asher can be. But this offense is really struggling. It's something like a Now, which in theory you should be able to have an easier time with.
Yeah, most definitely. But you can really just see the importance of the coordinated play that can come out on a map like Night Market, right? Where it's so important that you and your forward partner are synced up perfectly, and PP Legends just seem to be executing on that a little bit better as of right now. As there's still a power play, they do end up finding the second barrier here, but Alex has come back, respawned, as they're now trying to find the second barrier as well. Can they find it though? They can't. Alphamy finds a beautiful KO on Alex there, and clean core pressure will deliver the score right into Bloom's net. Not much she can do about that.
Yeah, I mean, there it is. That's the pass we want to see from Flying Globos. I want to see more of those plays, and I guess really it just does come off the back of Alphamy finding these KOs, because first KO leaded into the barrier, right? Second KO, we ended up getting that goal off of that. Now, with this Knife's Edge, with this Spark of Strength of Pummelers, he is set up for more of these KOs.
Yeah, and you can definitely also see that Flying Globos are opting to play into these KOs. Again, of course, Starfire is taking a lot of damage. Has healed up since, but that's just a lot of pressure, right, that the team comp will just naturally generate. Kind of sitting at a stalemate right now. Never mind, I just cursed it as the first barrier drops. Flip comes out to defend it, and Flying Globos are immediately in attack, finding one barrier on their own. Alphamy gets close to Flip. Let's see what they can do with it once they have it.
Yeah, I mean, a great dribble and I guess just bait of the strike from Loom by Fire Maiden, right? Looking for these interaction wins, and there's the flip. Shot to the top side. Loom's flip a little slow, and, well, Flying Globos, they want to answer back with a set of their own.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Bloom tried to get that save with the flip as well and ends up missing it. So now they're also slightly down. No, they still have a slight lead in energy overall. Alex has 1 bar. Fury gets close, or Fiery gets close to their own flip as well. While the side of Flying Globos are a little bit lower on that end. But the core and the energy, it doesn't really mean everything. It all will come down to those strike wars and that ever so important positioning. As you can see, PP Legends are trying to set themselves up, trying to really make use of that positional pressure that a Mako Asher can bring, but they're just eating so much damage while trying to do it, forcing out now to ult.
Yeah, it forces out the lifeline, and, well, now Alphamy is also the one who's taking a decent amount of damage, doesn't have much energy, and no Now to back him up. He has to be a little bit worried, but they do take that first barrier, so it seems to be pretty okay. But no, there's that flip that takes him off alongside the Ensnare Gems, and now in a power play, the side of Flying Globos, they have to look for some sort of saves. But Alphamy seems to be coming up pretty soon. This great defensive core of Fireman and Pensando buying so much time. Where does this clear? A perfect clear down to the bottom side, and then the glitch pop means that time is bought for Alphamy to come back onto the stage.
Yeah, really great defense from the side of Flying Globos. They're allowing Alphamy to come back and keeping a barrier as well as they're setting themselves up for a Knight's attack. Fireman sadly not hitting that flip as he would have liked, but the core still seems to be decently in control on the side of Flying Globos. Alphamy needs to be a bit careful to not end up dying here as the core just starts bouncing back and forth. Both teams are just really trying to set up a clean attack situation here. Neither of them can properly find it though, as Alphamy is still fighting for his life.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why they're unable to find it is just because the Knife's Edge, it offers everyone speed, which makes it so that there is no clear space to be able to be taken, right? Everyone is able to defend everything, and now Alphamy looking for this dribble in the 1v1. There's that pass cut off by the Now primary, and now there is the confirm out by Alphamy. We're 1-1 on sets.
Yeah, that is just the strength of that Juliet pick. If you're going against something like Now, right? If you get your setup, you can just dash punch right through the defense. And with a clean setup, they find themselves their first set. And there's a few high-value awakenings in this rotation. You have Fight or Flight. You're looking at Catalyst. You're looking at Stagger Swagger, Stacks on Stacks. Extra special that might go onto Amy as well.
Yeah, and once again, another deny from Now on this Imi, but the Imi, I think, is still pretty happy to take the Super Surge, right? Being that Imi goalie who doesn't already have a Dash Awakening, and surprisingly, the Fight or Flight falls to Kai, right? This is a little bit of an odd decision to let that fall, I guess, maybe valuing the stacks, the consistent speed a little bit more, but I think that Stagger Swagger is really big on average Alex, considering how much damage has already been pumped on him.
Yeah, that game plan that Flying Bubbles was employing a few sets ago, right, or a few points ago, of just damage dumping into one of the forwards and just getting the positional advantage through that, it's going to be denied a little bit. Can't be doing it on Alex anymore. But I do feel like I agree with what he said about Fire Flight, because Firemiden is going to start speeding across the entire map, but it doesn't matter if he can run across the entire map with all that mobility that he has if his teammate ends up finding the edge of the map.
Yeah, and finally the side of PP Legends finds a way to get it through that 2v2, but just as they get it through, Pensando in slightly an awkward position, unable to defend that top shot.
Yeah, really nice angle to be found there from the side of PP Legends as they're setting themselves up for the first goal of this set. But kickoff immediately commences. Alex, really good positioning there, immediately cutting off that pass to Firemiden, but now Bloom trying to defend a 2v1 situation. Able to defend it successfully. Alex also helping with that control. As Core finds itself on the side of Flying Bubbles again. A good, huge Mach Ult immediately shuts down most of the flip angles that can happen there, as Firemiden is also getting really close to dying, but also getting really close to Flip. Flip coming up from Fiery in front of the net, and a clean little pause and angled strike will secure the second goal of the set for the side of PP Legends. Really well executed.
Honestly, props to Flying Bubbles for defending that as long as they did, because that goal looked lost for a lot longer than, or a lot longer ago than when PPL actually scored it, right? They had a great series of defensive plays there, but in the end, PPL is able to find it, but they do have to commit a lot more than they were hoping to, right? With that double flip. Now on the other side, Flying Blobos, they're looking to hopefully answer here, but the side of PPL, they just keep winning these interactions against Fireman and against Fiery, but you don't need to win interactions when you get that kill there. Now up to Alphamy, he's looking for the second barrier, doesn't find it just yet, but now in this 2v2 very well might, and there it is. It's up to Alphamy, and he slots it in.
There's really clean strike wars from the side of Flying Blobos there to keep the core in enemy half. They just couldn't quite force it past Alex, but if you can't force it past him, just force Alex out of the way, aka off the map. So cleanly executed from Flying Bubbles for sure.
Yeah, pretty cleanly executed, but now with this energy being built up on Alphamy via the Catalyst, right, we might be able to see more of these kills really kind of come on, and that is that, I guess, catalyst to really find a way to win this set.
Yeah, and if you end up looking for kills as the side of Flying Blobos, you're probably looking to maybe punish Fiery off of position once, as he's now sitting on a fully stacked stacks on stacks as well. Get rid of those obviously would do a lot for you, but you can't get rid of them anymore, as PP Legends find themselves a second set and are going into this draft looking to close the deal. Maybe some more size on Asher could do the trick, just more speed. Hotshot in this draft as well. We'll see how this plans out.
Yeah, and I think the crucial thing here is there's so many good options for Alphamy, right? He is happy with any of the sparks, right? For more power and dash punches. Happy for the 1-2 punch, which is denied. Happy for the Egoist, also denied. Is given that spark of focus, which I think he is really not dissatisfied with. And the Deadeye being denied away from Aimee, a little unfortunate, unable to pump out as much damage. But I don't think she's too disappointed with that Siege Machine.
No, Siege Machine is going to do quite a lot for him as well. Keep in mind, the Siege Machine does buff the turret quite a bit as well. It's kind of deceptive how much damage that can be created through that turret on a Siege Machine on Aimee, but that damage doesn't really matter. Another edge kill is gonna be found from the side of PP Legends here, as they're now trying to set up their power play, trying to get this core past Pensado. Really good Mach Ult, holds it still. The barrier ends up dropping. Firemiden also getting really low now, though. Only 1 of 8 or almost none, but it doesn't matter. A clean strike from Alex gets it past Pensado and gets themselves the first goal of this set.
Yeah, unfortunately for Fireman, he had suffered so much damage from that little, like, trap that Alex and Fiery were putting down together, which meant that he just could not contribute to the play. And, well, when you have an Aimee 1v2 against Asher Mako, it's just not happening, right? And, well, we see that once again. Fireman needs to find a way to survive, needs to find a way even to just score if he can, if he doesn't want to live there. And, well, there it is, more damage just pumped on him, and that's the orb denied too.
Orb denied, put down into stagger. Firemiden does have 1 of 8 again, but isn't forced to use it just yet. But that's just really a lot of midfield control that's going to drop by him not being able to position where he wants. As a huge ultimate off of Fiery will find the KO there. Alphamy immediately replying with the dash punch though.
Yeah, and it looks like he wants to look for one more on Average Alex, posturing for it, and there it is. He finds the second. Now Bloom in a 1v3 can decide to Flying Globos convert here. They find this barrier, but Fiery has respawned and now is looking to save it. Might buy enough time for Alex to come back, and now with Alpha Me looking really low, it might not go in, but yes it does. A great Giga Blast, a great blink by Pensando. The two work on that offense together.
Yeah, not much you can really do if you're Bloom there, right? There's so many abilities coming at you, even if you're able to evade the hit stun. There's just not really any strike window anymore to clear that out. So, well found from the side of Flying Blobos. As PP Legends are trying to set themselves up again, they find a barrier, they find a KO as well, as they're now marching towards the goal of Flying Blobos. Bloom even going all the way up, finding the goal as well, ultimately, with that setup primary. And they just kind of ran over them on that defensive end.
Yeah, just absolute creation central there. I don't know where you're supposed to clear when you have an Ensnare Drums on one side, a Pat Splitter on another side, and then the one clear you think you have, there's also now primaries there, right? It just seems impossible, but I guess when you're in the offense, it doesn't really matter, as Fireman and Alpha Me looking to make sure it doesn't get back onto their defense, gets that first barrier, aims for the second, and now Fireman is carrying up. There's that flip, a great hit stun, means that Bloom isn't able to flip in response, and now we might see us go to 2-2 here.
Yeah, Bloom is able to defend it just in time, though. The core is on the side of Flying Globals now. One barrier drops. Fiery needs to be a bit careful here, though. He does take up a lot of damage as Pensado tries to find a clean jump to score, but not quite able to translate it. Alex trying to set up with the ultimate, finds a flip, finds a KO through it as well. Fiery will end up dropping as well, as we're in a 2v2 situation. One barrier still up for the side of Flying Globals, though. Is PP Legends going to be able to find that last barrier in time, or will Bloom almost gets taken off by Alpha Me there, actually?
Yeah, great KO attempt and an almost better Giga Blast, but Fireman unfortunately misses that angle, looking for the pass to Alpha Me, and the strike war on the primary, the missed strike shot, Alpha Me sends it in. We are going to a 0.5.
There's really good patience from Alpha Me there, outweighing the now primary and just striking right into the empty area. Not much that can be done at that point, as we do seem to be having some issues.
Yeah, perhaps some pause. I think maybe something is up with Bloom. Not quite sure. If we get some information from production, might be able to forward that. But otherwise, until then, right, we are likely going to be ending up in overtime by the time Bloom gets back. Who knows, right? Crucially, though, Fiery did die during the last set, so that is Stacks reset.
That is Stacks reset, and that combined with just the pure speed and control that the side of Flying Globals can output is going to make it a little bit more difficult for them to end up closing out this set. But generally speaking, I want to kind of talk about what the game plans should be, right? Because I feel like this is all, the outcome of this game can mainly end up hinging on the fact that the Flying Globals can control the core in the midfield area already and not even allow the side of PP Legends to get deep into their side, because once they are deep, they're gonna have creations, they're gonna have force to kill, as force to take barriers, as the play immediately commences and two barriers drop on the side of PP Legends.
Yeah, two barriers drop, but one answered back by that now primary. Now, Fireman needs to be really careful, taking so much damage from Fiery. Needs to make sure this barrier does not drop, thanks to the double brawler there, and there it is, it drops. We are in open net at game point. The pass up to Fiery, a great clear up of Fireman. Fiery, he gets the drum and bass, sends it to the bottom side. That's game one for PP Legends.
You just really saw that excellent positioning coming out from PP Legends there. You had to somehow clear it past Fiery on that Mako, and even if you managed to do that, there was an Asher immediately catching it. It's just so difficult to get that core out, and honestly, first time I saw the forward combination of the Asher Mako, not something I feel like that would work as potently as it ended up doing, though. So great combination from side of PP Legends as well. It ended up working out for them.
Yeah, I think the Asher Mako, as well as a team comp, really kind of relies on a few things, right? And I think the stars kind of aligned to make this comp be worth picking here, right? And those stars, being double magnetized souls, starting with some really good consistent speed, in this case, the Knife's Edge, right? It's also why we saw stuff like the Dubu X forward from yesterday from Sad Boys do pretty well against a more traditional comp of that Estelle Rasmus. They had the speed, the stack start in, I guess, a laned map, right? I don't recall if they were both using Mag Souls or not. Someone can correct me on that. But again, the double speed start, right? A laned map. this double brawler pick will typically work well on that.
Yeah, not only a lane map, specifically Night Market, right, where you do
Yeah.
have that speed gate in the middle as well that enables it even more. There's a variety of different comps that can work. Something that, at least in EU, I don't know if it was played over in NA a while back, seemed to be a pretty popular comp, was something like an Era Julie X. So it is akin to
Yep.
a combo like that as well. So definitely the right eye, and also hats off for PP Legends to realize that they were in a setting where they can pull out a comp like this and executing so well on it.
Yeah, and I think the now pick over the Era pick is also just, I guess, somewhat of a deny away from Fireman, right? Because Fireman plays both the Kai, plays both the now, but I would say his now is a little better than his Kai. And I think they probably just didn't want to deal with that, didn't want to deal with those quick interactions that the now can provide against something like the Asher, something like the Mako. But on top of that, alongside how it plays similarly to an Era, it just gives that speed to the brawlers, right? It allows them to maneuver even more, even if they have this Night Market gate, even if they have the Mag Souls, the Knife's Edge. More speed never hurts.
Yeah, and the speed itself isn't the only benefit as well, right? You do have the healing that comes through
Right.
from it as well, especially if you're going up against something like an Amy that is going to clear core by also hitting you and damaging you over and over. So the now pick seemed like a genius option in the end. But we are moving on to Clarion here now. A Juno ban already coming out. You see, Spark of Focus and Missile Propulsion. Are there any picks that jump into your mind that should be priored here?
I'm trying to think. We could potentially see something like a Pensando Finny, right, on this missile propulsion start. Flying Blobbles banning away the Luna, I guess, from Average Alex. I don't recall who on PP Legends actually plays Luna. I think Blue might be comfortable on it too. And there's that Juno taken away from Pensando, right? Pretty obvious pickup here, especially on a Spark of Focus start where you get more cooldowns. And there's that Amy, this time picked up by PP Legends.
Yeah, the Amy is gonna have a lot of value on a map like Clarion as well, right? There's quite a variety of maps that the turret can do a lot of work on. There's also quite a bit of damage that can be output if you do opt to go for missile propulsion. And on top of that, you could think about it a little bit. It could be a flex pick as well. It can go into net, it can go into midfield, but it almost immediately being answered by Kai now, just really shouting out, "Hey, we want to control this core. We are not letting you do what you want to do with your team comp because we're just controlling the entire game."
Yeah, and then, I mean, there's that Estelle Rasmus, meaning that actually this could go either way, right? Estelle Rasmus is the more traditional duo, but I know Bloom is one of the goalies who is also very comfortable in this Estelle goalie, and Average Alex can also play both picks. So I'm not sure who's picking up the Estelle, who's picking up the Aimee, but I mean, same thing goes for the opposite side. Who's picking up the Now, who's picking up the Kai? Pensando plays both Now and Kai, Fire Maiden plays both Now and Kai. It could go either way.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's something I really love personally about like the goalie midfield pool, that it does like interchange a decent amount. So you never really know what you're going up against unless you really know the players, you have experience in them, playing against them. What I would lean towards, I think I personally would put the Amy in net, and I would put probably the Kai in net, but I can be wrong. That's my perception of it. Do you disagree? Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't disagree really. I feel like those are the more traditional combos. I am more inclined to believe that it might be the Now goalie, right? Pensando used to play a ton of Kai, but I haven't seen much Pensando Kai as of late, but I have seen more Pensando Now, right? So that's another pick that I think might be a little bit more locked in, I'd like to say, but hey, I'm excited to be surprised.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm just kind of excited to see. Honestly, I'm just a fan of watching Rasmus gameplay. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I just always love seeing a character like that, especially if it's being piloted well. It has a lot of like outplay potential. So every single time Erasmus is in a game, I'm already looking forward to it. But it does look like the Amy's going to be in net on the side of PP Legends. Once we're gonna finish loading in, we're also gonna find out who's gonna be in it on the other side. So the wait doesn't have to go.
Yeah, I mean, the Ami being a net, right? Being able to reinforce the already good, I guess, confirms of Estelle Rasmus, but that's the worrying thing, right? If this is a Now goalie, Estelle and Rasmus should pretty handily beat it, right?
Yeah.
And we do see that it is a Kai goalie, right? So we may see, and with eject too, right? So both of these goalies opting for eject, opting for providing more of that pressure. And with regards to missile propulsion versus spark of focus, missile on the Kai and Estelle, and everyone else going spark of focus.
Yeah, that missile propulsion might come as a little bit of a surprise to some degree, not for certain. It just holds a lot of like kill pressure, right? Especially on a map like Clarion, where you find yourself close to edges quite often just by the way the maps are set up. They could be the difference maker between finding some more kills, but as of right now, talking about kills, Alex was almost taken off the map, but while he was just tanking abilities from Alphamy and Fireman, then Fiery and Bloom set themselves up perfectly to take 2 barriers and take the first goal of this set.
Yeah, I mean, it was Average Alex who actually found it in the end, but it was thanks to a hit stun by Fiery on Pensando, making sure that Pensando couldn't really move down and say that now, look, Alphamy is taking so much damage. First, that Aimi combo at the start, and now more damage being dropped by the forwards of PP Legends. He has been healed up since, but this damage might be kind of worrying for the side of Flying Globos.
Yeah, most certainly, especially because the abilities have now all gone, right? The ultimate is out, the mine is out, and Alphamy is again being dropped down to half HP. But now Alphamy is not the one to be worried about, as Fireman then also is almost in stagger range. On a map like the Obscura variant in Clarion, you need to be careful for stuff like that. It's a beautiful flip from Alphamy, though. Secures the second barrier, and Alex and Bloom are almost dead.
I mean, everyone seems to be almost dead, as the side of Flying Blobos also is taking so much damage, but it's Average Alex who's taken off the map. Fiery looking for a confirm. Fireman dropping these heals onto Alphamy, and Alphamy takes Bloom off the map while getting taken off the map himself. This is a 2v2, and this just looks so sketchy with how much damage is coming out on everyone.
Yeah, the good old kamikaze play, making sure that the goalie is out of the net and just getting himself an energy reset, we'll call it. As Alex is trying to set up an attack, but immediately gets put down to 1 HP again. Alphamy trying to set up an execute here as well. Not quite able to find it, though, as Bloom and Fiery are trying to attack the second barrier on Pensado. Not quite able to find it just yet, though. Flip coming out in front of the net, and clean angle finds the corner, as we're now in an open goal situation for both teams. Alex, again, just tanking so much damage, and it's looking rough to be a midfielder today. There's a lot of abilities that are just consistently flying on both Fireman and Alex. A beautiful bounce off of that Clarion, though, setting themselves up for another attack. Court goes back and forth. Is it going to be a score soon, though? We will find out.
Yeah, but Bloom is up forward, but he doesn't have the eject back. A missed Oni's Blade angle means that the goal isn't found there, but the glitch pop finds as Pensando's blazing pace is not fast enough.
Yeah, a beautiful angle in the end picks up the goal, so well executed, well they did well to keep core control as well while being a man down as we start into the second set, and then Amy turret does go down. Is it going to be able to find a barrier? No, it gets played around. Now ult coming out pretty early, though, crucially enough. This could be a little bit dangerous if the side of PP Legends have abilities.
Yeah, PP Legends just trying to use their strikes at least while they wait for their abilities to come back up, and now Fire with this Whiplash doesn't really need it, even as that barrier is found, but no barriers to be answered. There's the flip. Oni's Blade sends it back, but Flying Blobos still have a lot more ground to cover, especially since their net is open. The flip stopped by Fireman. First barrier falls, second looking to soon follow, but now Fiery is closing on this net.
Yeah, and you can just kind of see the positional like dominance that PP Legends are just kind of putting onto the side of Flying Blobos, right? It seems like the barrier from the side of PP Legends isn't really getting attacked as much. Yes, the core is a lot in that area, but it's always in like a non-dangerous area, you know, where you can easily just have a glitch pop, clear it out, as again the core just flies to the side of Flying Blobos. But they're holding on well, especially now that Alex is down to 100 HP and the side of Flying Blobos is full HP. They might be looking for an execution. Never mind, Alex is already back to full. Flip coming up from Fire in front of the net, and a clean setup with that primary will end up taking the first set for PP Legends.
Yeah, PP Legends looking a lot cleaner, and I mean, reminder, this is actually Flying Blobos map pick. They need to be doing better on this if this is, and, well, there are some interesting pickups here. I'm curious to see what Bloom lets Fire Maiden have, because this Fight or Flight is really strong on this now. Opts to deny the Super Surge, and then opts for the Spark instead, right? Because this is a Spark start. You want to make sure you get the Spark scaling, you don't give it to the enemies, and, well, what is this Centaur grab? Could be Fight or Flight, could be Rapid Fire. Opts for the Prize Fighter instead. I'm a little shocked by that decision. Any thoughts on that?
I do think that Flying Bubbles have just kind of accepted or have decided to just go for the KO angle, right? If you think about it, Farmadin gonna both on Spark of Strength and the Spark of Focus giving cooldown and damage. Especially with a missile prop on Kai as well, you do have a surprising amount of damage output while trying to control the core as well. A Siphoning Wand on Zentaro, together with a prize fighter now, feels like they're just trying to KO the side of PP Legends before they lose any of the barriers and then they play off of that man advantage. But it seems to be playing out the exact opposite, actually, as PP Legends find themselves a total of 2 kills this set. Didn't even drop a single barrier and take the goal already.
Yeah, I mean, crucially also, Alpha Mi's prize fighter is now a Dead Awakening, right? He lost a single stack he had to his name, and he's going to have to do a lot more work if he wants to build it back up, and missing those abilities is really not what we want to see. We want to see Flying Blobos kind of take this back, maybe take us to at least a set 4, maybe a set 5 like last time, and, well, they have a lot more they need to do, and with Alpha Mi taking so much damage, this is exactly opposite of what they want to be doing.
Yeah, especially because there's also some Awakenings that have gone through that just kind of play against what Flying Bubbles might be wanting to play for, right? The Stagger Swagger finding its way onto Alex means you can't really go for him, but you can definitely go for Fiery as he's taken off the map. Alex has a flip. Is he going to be able to use that now? He immediately drops it so he doesn't die with it. They're trying to set it up, but they're not quite able to get past Loom's defense, though.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is they're trying to damage average Alex, but he has the Stagger Swagger. It makes it so he can't really be killed there, and, well, that's the barrier almost falling. A great flip out by Pensando. There's the Oni's Blade looking for that barrier. Doesn't really find it in the end, and that Giga Blast trying to clear it. But the side of PP Legends doing so much work, but Bloom is taken off the map by that core flip. Alpha Mi almost finds that barrier, but he finds average Alex instead. Now Fiery isn't a 1v3. Can he save this barrier? He cannot, but he might be able to save the goal as he creates a great pendulum swing. There's that pass, 1-2, down to the bottom side, and PP Legends lets that goal by.
Yeah, beautifully executed from the side of Flying Bubbles, and funny little callback to the start of the last point when we're talking about Alpha Mi being on 0 stacks. He's now sitting on 3, so suddenly this KO kill comp that seemed a little bit rough to execute is in a different light, as Fiery is immediately taking down the Stagger. Does have an evade still to work with, but Zentaro ultimate quickly there to confirm it, as we have another man advantage situation for the side of Flying Blobos, cleanly setting themselves up to take that barrier. Average Alex now also almost about to be taken out, even though he does have that Stagger Swagger. Pensado, though, with a beautiful run-up, making maximum use of that eject button together with that aerials to just secure the second goal of the set. And the momentum seems to have shifted quite heavily in this last goal.
Yeah, I mean, really both ways, right? First, starting off poorly for Alpha Mi, and then finding all those kills, getting those prize fighter stacks back up. The side of Flying Bubbles looks pretty poised to take this set if they continue what they're doing, and, well, they do lose that middle orb, and now average Alex might be looking to use that to convert off of something, and just continues the defense, right? He just keeps the defense alive.
The defense is being kept alive, but sadly, his teammates aren't. Average Alex, again, being very low. Having just a rough time, right? Because again, a lot of the damage that Flying Bubbles will be putting out with that Kai, with that Zentaro, with that Now, they're gonna be hits on the core while also hitting the enemy. So it's just gonna get increasingly difficult to defend that. But a beautiful clear out from the side of Bloom. And Bloom sets up an attack angle to maybe take the second barrier. Pensado, though, with beautiful strikes, being able to deny it. And Alpha Mi now with the orb, a very dangerous individual.
Yeah, very dangerous as he just completely assassinates Bloom. And there's a great strike down as Fireman finds that second barrier. Fiery looking really low, but it doesn't matter as Alpha Mi slots it into the bottom side once again.
Yeah, just the momentum and the power that you can get off of those 3 prize fighter stacks just really showed at the end of this set, right? And we're now going into the next draft. We do have a few Awakenings here. You're looking at a Hotshot, you're looking at Catalyst. I do wonder who's going to pick up what, though. Spark going on to Alpha Mi, of course. Second Spark for him now, also giving him a little bit more survivability. Catalyst going on to Estelle makes sense. Deadeye making that Giga Blast from Pensado, though, even more lethal.
Yeah, and I mean, crucially, Fireman doesn't pick up the third Spark, but I don't think he's too disappointed with that Chrono Boost, right? And Fiery in the end picking up this Hot Shot, a pretty great pick on this Rasmus. But that's all the Sparks gone, right? No Sparks left in the question anymore. Alpha Me having 2, Fire Maiden having 2, and Bloom having 2.
Yeah, so we're not gonna find a Spark Exodia, but there's still a few Awakenings, right, in this draft or in future sets that it can just very much sway everything. I do feel like, though, Fiery is definitely still very happy to find something like a Hotshot, even though he did end up being last pick. But both barriers now fallen on the side of PP Legends. Flying Globos trying to set themselves up, but a beautiful Cyber Swipe from Loom coming in to take the second barrier. And Alex with a flip just about taking out Alpha Me, putting him down to 0 prize fighter stacks. But Ether, we've been here before.
We have been here before, and hey, with the damage on Pensando, Alpha Me might be finding a few more stacks of himself, right? If he just sets someone up for a good knockback kill, Pensando with that Missile Propulsion Deadeye can absolutely nuke someone off the map.
Yeah, most definitely. Bloom jumping forward, trying to make use of that flip, not quite able to get the angle though, and the orb now on Alpha Me. Average Alex down to half HP, will start to regenerate it pretty soon though with that Swagger, as the positional pressure from PP Legends is just coming out again. It seems so difficult to take the core out of the half of Flying Globos, as the Missile Propulsion ultimate from Estelle is just a bit too much for Pensado to defend against. PP Legends now 1 goal away from taking this set.
Yeah, I mean, that was just so perfectly timed out by Average Alex. He finds it so that Pensando has no time to react, and, well, we see that come through, and now up 2-0. They could close out the set. A flip out by Fireman, doesn't really find anything, but it does bring it forward for Alpha Me, who wants to get the second barrier, isn't able to. Greatly defended out by PP Legends.
Yeah, it's getting a bit more difficult for the side of Flying Globos to find their KOs, right? As Alpha Me is on 0 prize fighter stacks, and a lot of abilities are actually being used on Alex, which I find a little bit surprising, right? Because if you compare Alex and Fiery, Alex has a Stagger Swagger, Alex has a Catalyst. That's going to be so much more difficult to kill, but it's just so much more important to take out that midfield area.
Right.
But the core gets continuously forced through, and the goal finds its way through.
Yeah, a goal finds its way through, and yeah, you made a really good point, right? The fact that Average Alex has all these defensive awakenings. I know you want to be taking out the midfielder, but if you want to, you're really going to have to try to assassinate them. And once again, we see the damage being dumped onto Average Alex, but it's just not being sustained as well as it should be.
Yeah, most definitely, but pretty quickly 2 barriers falling, 1 on each side, as we're now on opposite play situations. The question is who's going to be able to set themselves up properly. Pensado running up with the eject, making good use of the strikes and the barrage there. Now Mine also coming out, and Fiery now getting a bit low. He needs to be very careful here, because if you end up dying here, you might end up giving Alpha Me that little bit of extra damage that he needs to continue to snowball even heavier. But of course, just bouncing back and forth, Fiery finds his HP back, and neither side really finding a great setup right now. A lot of energy being generated though. We're a flip on Firemiden and 3 flips that are about to come up.
Yeah, the flip already burned by Fireman, and now we need to be really careful about Alex's flip, about Moon's flip. Moon wanting to jump forward, but gets punished for it as he cyber swipes.
Yeah, both Alex and Bloom's ankles a little bit broken there. Didn't expect Firemiden to find this strike, and we're now in a goal 5 situation, and I think Flying Globos are very happy to see a damage map.
Yeah, very happy with this damage map, and there's that first barrier falling, the second one answered by that flip, and now we have only 1 flip on this map, a second one soon to be coming up, and there's that lifeline, a crucial lifeline, but still stacked for that damage, and now this barrier is open. Flying Globos not in the best of situations, especially with how much damage Fireman has on him.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage being dumped out as well from the side of Alex with the beams and everything, and Bloom making optimal usage of that Amy as well. The core is still in the half of Flying Globos, but I feel like the momentum is in favor of PP Legends. They're going up against an open net. A really nice save from Pensado gets it away from the Rasmus, but Bloom immediately seeing that, punishing it with that Super Surge range, and giving them the second set win.
And hey, even if that didn't go in, there were still 2 flips on the side of PP Legends, and well, Average Alex probably rewarded with that.
Yeah.
Right, a great pickup for the Sistel. The now might answer, with the Timeless Creator, a good deny away from the IME, but also just great overall for her. And this Unstoppable, a great deny away from Pensando, makes it so that this Rasmus has a bit of a harder time, or would have made it so that Rasmus had a bit of a harder time. But still, the Zentaro got explosive entrance.
The question is Explosive Entrance going to be enough to deal with all the pickups that PP Legends were able to find, right? Average Alex being able to find this Egoist in this draft essentially just eliminates him from being a KO option, right? He's going to have energy all the time. He's going to have evades all the time. So you might need to start looking to find the KO on Fiery, or you're just immediately pivoting into more control-based movement as well. Question is what's going to end up working. They did find 2 barriers. It immediately got answered though, and a huge damage drop on Fire Ramadan as PP Legends are trying to defend a beautiful flip coming out, almost getting the second barrier as well. Average Alex now with the Egoist procs, with the Catalyst, just running up. Second barrier does end up dropping. Alex probably trying to set himself up for a nice flip here. A beautiful beam gets a KO as well, as PP Legends do turn this point around and find the goal.
Yeah, they find that KO with a great flip into a confirm. Good pass actually up by Fiery to make sure that Average Alex is poised to take it. But despite that, I think even if they aren't able to go for the KO, Flying Blobos is a little bit more poised to go for this core control pivot, especially now that you have the Explosive Entrance on Zentaro. It means that he can get to a better position more often.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like if you're ending up going for KOs here, you're just going to end up losing way too much pressure. A flip does come out, takes the barrier in trade for Fiery's life there, though. Now 2v1 situation of Armadin against Bloom. Alex immediately coming back, getting that Egoist proc again, though. Using the flip in the end to try to clear it out. It immediately gets caught by Firemadin, though, as now Pensado is looking in a pretty rough spot, able to defend it pretty well, though.
Yeah, defends it pretty well, but you see Average Alex just used the flip pretty early before this, but he has it almost already back up. This Egoist, this Catalyst doing so much work for PP Legends, but on the opposite side, that barrier almost falls. A great flip out by Bloom, comes over to this opposite side, saved out by Pensando, but Average Alex still continues to build up this flip by just hitting people, but it doesn't matter if he gets the piercing shot, and he crucially saves the Egoist proc for the final point, potentially.
Yeah, that is so massive as well. You're going to go into kickoff on as Alex now. You're going to get one hit on the core and you're going to have that speed boost available. But are you going to be able to make use of it? A lot of damage being dumped and a very nice KO from the side of Alex there, making use of that flip and jump, putting them into a power play. The side of Flying Blobostar does pretty well to keep the core in the enemy half. Doesn't really matter though, as Firemadin also ends up dropping, and suddenly we have a different kind of KO comp on this map.
Yeah, different kind of KO comp, and now in a 2v3 with Fireman respawning, the side of PP Legends are doing a lot of work in the corner, buying time for Average Alex to come back, but this passing play, it has to be big. They have to find something here, and they do, as Fireman slots it right past Bloom, and that point, that was set up by an insane flip out by Pensando.
Yeah, most definitely, and there's not really much for Bloom to do anymore, right? You have Fireman running up from the bottom, and Alphamy with that extended dash range just coming in from the top, as we're now going again onto a damage map. Now, I don't think at this point, the way that the teams are playing it, anyone's really favored on here. But what definitely is going to give you a favor is a huge cyber swipe from Bloom here, as they're now getting really close to finding the second game win.
Yeah, they might just find it here. A great save out by Pensando, but the flip, it might not matter, and it goes to the top side. PP Legends take it 2-0 against the Flying Blobos.
Pensado almost did miracle work in net there, but really good positioning from Alex as able to punish it in the end. Really well played from the side of PP Legends. Well, GG's.
Yeah, GG's for the PP Legends. Played it pretty well, but I think the Flying Blobos are no slouches. I'd say PP Legends overall were favored coming into this matchup, but Flying Blobos showing that there is still a lot behind their team, and I feel like some of their offenses can be shored up a little bit because their defenses, especially against a team as good as PPL, were pretty solid. It's just once they get back onto this offense, they need to find a bit more of a way to convert more consistently.
Yeah, most definitely. They had a pretty strong showing, so it's definitely a team that you do need to be careful of if you are another team in NASA. So even though the scoreline ended up being 2-0, it didn't really feel like that. But ultimately, results is all that matters. PP Legends did find the 2-game wins, and they're going to be very happy to start the season 2-0, I believe, now.
Yeah, I believe that does put them 2-0 after a win against Eternal Sovereigns last week. But otherwise, we are going to be seeing Eternal Sovereigns joining us back on I guess, the stage, the Core Strike arena shortly. We'll cut to a little bit of a break and we'll be back for Eternal Sovereigns versus Wochills. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Series 2 of NASA Season 5, Week 2. We're back with Eternal Sovereigns versus Woe Chills. I'm once again here with Sloth. How's it going?
Still doing as great as it was before. We just finished up a lovely series, and we have another one on our hands. Looking forward to it again. Also seeing a few different maps being played here, as the map draft has already concluded as well. Our opening being on Oni Village. What's the Oni Village vibe like in most of the NA games? Do you share the same sentiment of this potentially being a 30-minute game ahead of us?
Potentially, right? I think NA teams are typically a little bit more willing to go to Oni Village at times, but we still generally feel like, yeah, it's gonna last for 30 minutes. We're gonna be stuck here forever. And looking at these comps, we are seeing Atlas, Imi, Rasmus for Woe Chills. Uh, that is a little odd. I'm not sure who is picking what here. Because I don't see any of ZZZ's typical picks, especially since we're going to Oni Village. And then on the opposite side, we see Asher, Octavia, Kazan, and that seems a little bit more obvious, right? Color Craze picking up this Octavia, Asher going to Alonso, and Sovereign picking up this Kazan.
Honestly, I'm just excited to see Octavia gameplay. I feel like Octavia is always a bit rather amusing to spectate as she just really takes control of the entire way the map is being played. Right, there's just it's such a big factor that you need to consider playing against it and playing with it as well, that it kind of just changes up everything. And especially on a start with like stacks on stacks where you already have a baseline of speed that you can just work with. It's very interesting to see how this is going to be dealt with from both sides.
Yeah, and once again, it does make most sense for this Atlas to actually go to ZZZ, right? Just because of the fact that, yes, you would think, oh, this seems like a relatively standard comp. Yeah, it's no Estelle, no Kai, no Now. Oh, never mind. It's actually Taco that's in, right? No ZZZ. Looks like we're going to be seeing Taco and Hamster Quest in this forward position, so this is also a little bit more interesting right now. We're probably going back to that more traditional comp with Taco on the Rasmus, Atlas going over to Ayla Lyra, and Hamster Quest on Imi.
Yeah, and that's what you would be expecting, right? Atlas also being like just the lockdown goalie for a map like Oni Village. Also going to be doing, I think, decently well against the Octavia on the defensive end, given you can control well against it, because you are going up against an Octavia, you are going up against a Kazan as well. There's a lot of outplay potential being given or being created by those two characters that could end up scoring around the Atlas. But very exciting to see how this is going to go. Everyone ended up going stacks and stacks, with the exception of Taco opting for the big fish, which was expected. So we'll see how this plays out as the first barrier drops, the second barrier drops, but ultimately it's Oni Village. We only care about the last barrier up.
Yeah, we only care about the last barrier, and I'm interested to see how Ayla Lyra is going to pilot this this Atlas, as she's typically known to be that big Rasmus player with some experience also on Kai, but we will not be seeing either of those picks coming out for her on this map. But this Atlas is generally a lot more of a straightforward pick, right? A lot of people can play it with just a little bit of experience on the defensive goalies in general.
Yeah, most definitely. The question is just kind of how is the midfield control going to end up working for the side of Woe Chills as well, right? Because if you can control the core at all times, the Octavia pick is going to be pretty difficult to actually properly execute. But at the moment you start losing control of that core, it's going to be one uphill battle. But you can see it right now already. Woe Chills is doing a really good job at keeping the score controlled, not allowing Octavia to play the game that she wants to play. As Hamster Quest jumps forward, tries to flip, and a well-timed strike mixes up Alonso, and the core does go in for the first goal of this game.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an awkward situation there, right? I think Hamster Quest was looking for something like the glitch pop into sending it forward into glitch popping it to make that really uninteractable, but then misses the strike, and, well, can probably view it as a mix-up, and hey, maybe it was intended as a mix-up, but in the end it does secure that goal for them, and that first barrier falling, not really much for this Asher considering how good she is at defending in these corners. But one thing I'm really liking is just this passing play from Hamster Quest, from Taco. Both of them have played as the midfielder of Woe Chills, so they are very used to playing this passing style while ZZZ is focused on the kills. And, well, we see that working really well for both of them here as they take the second variant, even if they do trade one of their own, forcing Alonso's flip. And, well, now it just makes it really tough for this Asher to defend on the open net.
Yeah, Asher on open up is definitely never going to have a good time, and on top of that, just the really clean passing plays is just completely shutting out Color Craze from doing anything on his Octavia. Also, having a lot of damage being dumped onto them here as well, being brought down to a stagger, so you can't really run up to core and refresh your ability and your speed as much as you want, as the side of Wochels do try to control the core and find a fortunate bounce off the wall to score past Alonso.
Yeah, they find a way to score it past, and, well, doing a quick stacks check, Sov, I think, was taken off the map, which means his stacks was reset. Ayla Lyra about 80% of the way there, and same thing with Alonso, nearly there. But both Color Craze and Hamster Quest are full on the stacks.
Yeah, but you can kind of see on those attacks, aside from the fact that the positioning from the side of Wochels is just really good, they're also just winning the strike wars, and they're winning the crucial strike wars now, already having an open net situation for Alonso again, just disabling that Asher pick as much as you can through forcing both barriers out. Sov now also down to a stagger, needs to be careful to not end up dying, but Hamster Quest with a beautiful glitch pop takes him off of the map, as Wochels now in the power play do have a flip available for them. Are they going to end up using it, or are they going to hold it for a more secure situation? We'll find out in a second. They don't need to use it. Taco pushing and pulling the defense around with that Rasmus pick. A beautiful hook. Brings the core back and scores it at the top of the net. First set goes towards Wochels.
First set towards Wochels. Once again, Taco and Hamster Quest, their passing play is so good, and well, this Aerials pickup, yeah, it's good on Rasmus, but it's also just a deny away from the Octavia, right? Not wanting to let her have easy access to that speed, but she does get some solid access to the speed in terms of the knife's edge. Of course, not nearly as good as the Aerials, but still pretty solid. But this Catalyst, it keeps falling so far down. Is the Kazan just going to get it?
Does look like the Kazan does end up getting it. I'm not quite... Oh, it does make sense, actually. The Rampage needs to be denied off of the Kazan, right? Kazan doing really good with more size. So, as much as it's weird to look at, the Catalyst dropping all the way down there does make sense, because every other pick beforehand was just either really good for the person taking it or also an important deny. As now a barrier does drop, Color Craze tries to get the stacks going on the Octavia. Are they going to be able to do anything with it more though, or is it going to end up running out? The core control is very much in favor of Eternal Sovereigns right now, but how long can they hold it for? A really good and patient hit though from Ayla there is going to make it difficult for Color Craze to hold on, but they do manage to do it in the end. They do drop it. A flip coming up from Hamster Quest now, trying to set up a scoring opportunity. Color Craze needs to be careful to not end up dying here.
Yeah, needs to be really careful, but not careful enough as he's taken off the map. But now the offense has kind of slowed a little bit. This passing play needs to come through. Sovereign doing his best to sit in this midfield, cut off this pass. A great save out by Alonso, buys more time. Color Craze has respawned, and now he's moving to this bottom side, looking to get it through this Firewall Sentry. Just might not, but he finds it, and now Sovereign Color Craze on this offense. The base drop already dropped, nothing to be gotten from it, but these passes, they come through from both sides. These passes so important. There's that second barrier. It does fall. But the pass up to the opposite side, Sov, he's waiting with this flip. But Alonso, no, you can't miss those. But every goalie gets one.
Every goalie gets one. It happens to the best of us. Trying to be a little bit too patient there, but it happens from time to time. Can't do much about it. Kickoff goes now. It's first goal of the set. The set isn't lost yet. Sovereign trying to set themselves up for a second barrier take here. Has a flip as well, ends up using it. Down to half HP, no evades. Maybe needs to be a bit careful on damage dumps here. As Color Craze pops that Octavia speed boost. Isn't quite able to hold on to it though. Core control still decently in control from the side of Eternal Sovereigns, but a barrier does end up dropping as Wochels just really find the control back and just set themselves up perfectly for an open goal again.
Ooh. Yeah, I want to first talk about that great flip out by Hamster Quest, flipping and passing it to his own glitch pop, but then a slightly lackluster flip out by Ayla Lyra, trying to send it to that hook, but really, I don't know if you want to send it there when there's the members of Eternal Sovereigns covering that out clear. But now, Color Craze looking so low without any energy to work with, has to fall back for this orb, but actually sits up topside to make sure that the flip doesn't come through, but in the end, the strike just goes through anyways.
Yeah, clean execution on that strike ward from Hamster Quest. Just realizing, hey, the Asher is a net. She doesn't really have any range. If I just win this strike ward, this is going to be a goal. And Color Craze trying to get an Octavia speed boost going and finds a huge kill actually on Taco. The question is, are they going to be able to capitalize on this? Are they going to be able to stack up this Octavia to undefendable degrees? Or are they going to be able to set themselves up to maybe take second barrier with Sov's flip? Taco has respawned, and you can kind of see, I want to point out, a little bit of a trend. Sov seems to be having a pretty rough time finding his way into this game, as he's still stuck on level 3. He's being played around quite frequently.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the idea is just throw the core near Color Craze, and then throw the damage and all the abilities on Color Craze as well, because this Octavia has such little stagger. She is getting so much damage dropped onto her, and once again, she's staggered. Even if she has the flip, she has to use it defensively there.
Yeah, a little bit of a flip delivery on the core, but Color Craze had to use it, otherwise they end up dying there. Really good defense though from the side of Ilalira. Keeps holding on to this point as Wochills are now trying to find this third goal. Color Craze trying to set up the Octavia speed boost again, but again, just the core is being controlled away from them so well.
Oh, but Ilalira falls. It's an open net now for Wochills. Ilalira's stacks and Rampage also reset. Hamster Quest and Taco looking for some way to play this 2v3. They just might, but now Alonso, he tries to buy time, has to burn that breakthrough after missing the strike shot, but Ilalira respawns, and now Sovereign looking for some sort of play with this flip. Has it ready, looking for a pass from Alonso or Color Craze, doesn't yet find it as Hamster Quest and Taco are converting this midfield so well. Pass, and the pass fails out by Color Craze as that flip wasted, and now Sovereign, I don't know if he has the scoring mechanisms to deal with Ayla. But just as I say that,
strike. Yeah, a beautiful strike just out times the Atlas primary there and does sneak it past. Sovereign finding the kill a little bit earlier on Ilalira, also doing a lot of work as Ilalira is sitting on a Rampage stacks and stacks. Both of those have now been reset, which is going to help you quite a bit. Not to mention the fact as well that KO did bring a decent amount of experience. Still a little bit behind in the grand scheme of things, but much less of an issue as it was before.
Yeah, much less of an issue, and yeah, once again, we are seeing Sov struggle a lot against this Atlas, and I feel like part of that is also just because of how consistent the Atlas can be in these clears.
Most definitely, yeah. And especially because the Atlas, and together with Hamster Quest on the Sami as well, are just doing such a good job at intercepting the core before it really gets into range for Sov to do anything with it, right? Kazan has a lot of playmaking potential, but to really enable that playmaking, you do need the core within a specific range of you. And if you're immediately getting Atlas primaried or glitch popped, there's just not really a lot you can do to execute that. As a quick back and forth is being exchanged between both of the teams, both of them trying to find the second barrier. They're playing on same side, which makes it a little bit awkward. A huge kill coming out from the side of Wochills, though, giving them a power play. Are they going to be able to translate this, though, or are the side of Eternal Sovereigns going to be able to hold on?
Yeah, power play, but so much time being bought by the position of Alonso and Color Craze. A great strike shot means that Sov isn't able to find anything there, but this corner offense, it's looking pretty good by the side of Wochills, but again, it's just Asher. It's Asher with all her abilities, and it's just so hard to score when that's the situation.
Yeah, it's just very difficult, right? You just have so much to stop the core, and the cooldowns are also going to be up quite a bit, right? If you have a situation where there's one barrier to the other like this, the core is usually going to make a turn through the bottom of the field. That's always going to be a second or two that you get back, trying to set up an attack for abilities, but the barrier does end up dropping. A KO does come out as well, but Ilalira's ultimate making sure to deny that as fast as possible. Alonso using the flip here. Color Craze also getting rather low though, maybe needs to use the flip soon, ends up using it, just barely missing out though as Sovereign's trying to set up to take the barrier. The barrier does end up dropping. Sovereign is getting close to flip as well. Are they going to be able to make use of it on the offensive end though, as Color Craze needs to be careful, no evades, half HP, a lot of damage will be getting dropped onto them. Flip in front of the net, and Sovereign gets a clean angle just past the Cosmic Expense on Ilalira.
Yeah, again, that was just played so well by Color Craze in that midfield, right? He's making sure Hamster Quest, making sure Taco cannot deal with that defense that's coming in by the Asher and Octavia. And the moment you get one pass to the Kazan with flip against an Atlas, on the open net, that's just not going to do anything. And, well, we see the double barrier taken by Eternal Sovereigns. They're favored to maybe even up the set. A great strike shot means it's safe for the time being. Hamstercrest, he has his flip, might use it for damage instead of the barrier, but it looks like Taco's the one who wants to finish off the Octavia.
Yeah, this would be a massive set for the side of Eternal Sovereigns to find, right? Because Octavia has such a level advantage. There's no way that Color Craze wouldn't be the first pick, and there's still so many Awakenings in the pool that would just make this Octavia even more stronger. So they're doing their best trying to find this this goal. Flip from Hamstercrest does go wide, sadly, though, and the attack will now start to go. Color Craze keeping being able to hold on to this Octavia speed boost, though.
Yeah, but this looks all but lost here. A great flip out by Aelalira, a better strike shot from Alonso buying time, and Color Craze is moving forward with the speed. The primary from Octavia secures it right past Aelalira. Eternal Sovereigns tie it up.
Really well executed point from the side of Color Craze as well, being able to hold on to this speed boost for as long as they did, just allowed them to find this last angle, sneak it through, and now we're at a draft. Now we're looking at a few Awakenings with high priority. You have a Super Surge, you have an Unstoppable, you have a Hotshot. Who's going to end up taking what, though? Unstoppable going onto Color Craze just to give that little bit extra of survivability. Super Surge onto Amy, giving a little bit more lethality for Hamstercrest on that pick. And Rapid Fire making it so more difficult for the side of Wochills to get past this Asher goalie.
I mean, it goes for both sides too, right? I think we are primed and ready for a 30-minute Oni Village game with Rapid Fire on the Asher and Hot Shot on the Atlas, right? Two insanely good cooldown reduction Awakenings on either defensive goalie just makes it so that this Octavia Kazan and this Aimee Rasmus might struggle a little bit more to find the second barrier.
Yeah, it is gonna come down to just who's gonna be able to force situations that are undefendable more, right? Because if you're just continuously striking core against the barrier, the Atlas and the Asher are gonna have no issue defending against that. As again, one barrier drops on either side, but the core control still is in favor of Wochills as of right now, as a slight mishap on the defense takes the top barrier, and Hamstercrest sets themselves up perfectly to take the first goal.
Yeah, Hamstercrest takes the first goal, looks pretty good, but crucially, right, this Unstoppable on the Octavia, it just means that it's so much harder to keep this consistent damage going on her and make it so that you can just focus on killing her, and she'll be able to sit in more of these positions she wants to be in. A great blink glitch pop by Hamstercrest means that the second barrier is found, and Hamstercrest, he has his flip. Where does he send it? Waits, sends it down to Taco. We're looking for a 1-2 pass right here. And there it is, the combo, the pass, Cyber Swipe. Alonso not ready with the flip.
Yeah, just really good patience from Hamstercrest there, knowing that after striking towards the net there, Alonso can either clear up or down, just holding the Cyber Swipe to be ready to punish that almost immediately. But it's still only 2 goals. The set isn't over yet, although it's looking very favored for them. Color Craze ends up using the flip for the defense here. Not quite able to get the core out, though. Another Amy turret just being placed, making it also difficult to really find clean angles. Color Craze does sneak the core out, though, and is starting to stack this Octavia speed boost. Are they going to be able to hold on to it, though? Or is the side of Wochills going to be able to interrupt it as the core almost goes into the barrier? Taco barely missing the hook, sadly. Color Craze, unfortunately, with the ultimate, takes their own barrier there, but it's a small price to pay for an Octavia speed boost that has been going on for close to a minute. As it drops, though, and a beautiful Super Surge jump from Hamstercrest scores the core and the goalie with it, giving them the second set win, putting them just one away from winning this game.
Yeah, putting them one set away from winning, and now this Aimee first pick could be rewarded with the Timeless Creator, the Siege Machine, or maybe just opting to deny the Stagger Swagger away. That's also a great option. We'll have to see what she opts for in the end, but there's that Rapid Fire Prime Time for Alonso. That is going to be disgusting, and the Chrono Boost taken away from the Octavia. She does go for the Twin Drive in the end. Deny away from the Atlas. But Atlas still gets the problem.
Not only a deny, right? Twin Drive for Octavia is going to make sure that Color Craze is going to hold on to the speed boost even more. It's not really the Awakening rotation you wanted to see if you're Wochills in here, because Stagger Swagger, Chrono Boost, and Twin Drive are all great Awakenings for her. But I guess with Twin Drive, it is the smallest of evils, as a clean ultimate off of Color Craze will find a KO on Hamstercrest. Let's see if the set of Eternal Sovereigns are going to be able to find a power play for them, though.
Yeah, but I mean, again, right, this Atlas has missile propulsion, so even if she didn't get that Twin Drive, she's able to use this missile propulsion to threaten way more with these primaries, not only damage, but just presence on the map.
Most definitely, as Octavia does end up getting taken off the map. Respawn now, though. Sovereign does have flip. Is he going to be able to make a good use of it, though? Or is the core continuously going to be held in the side of Eternal Sovereigns? The core just kind of keeps on bouncing back and forth, and you just kind of can see a really good flip coming out from Taco. Finds the angle ever so slightly past Alonso as they're trying to set up now with Hamster Crest, trying to get this core in a situation where a Glitch Pop or a Cyber Swipe are going to be able to finish it. Cyber Swipe instead being invested to take Color Craze off of the map again, though, and I feel like this is the second or third kill this set already, no?
Yeah, really great kill, and oh my god, that nearly sent it in. Aelir with a bit of a defensive mishap, not positioned for that secondary, but still finding these great primaries, finding these abilities to get the core forward, and waits patiently, waits for that flip. The pass means that everything is open for the side of Wochills.
Yeah, and a good eye for Taco there to also just hit the core directly where it was going. A few forwards might have tried to go for a different angle as a mix-up, but Taco was aware of Alonso committing a little bit too heavily onto that bottom side there. Sends it into the top corner there and gets themselves this goal. You do need to be a little bit worried for the side of Eternal Sovereigns, and as I say that, Sovereign just completely outplays Aelir there, taking 2 barriers. Are they going to be able to find the goal, though?
Yeah, I mean, they find the first barrier on the opposite side, but Eternal Sovereigns, they want to look for this goal, and a pass-up might just be what they need. There's that flip burned by Hamster Quest, looking for a potential kill, doesn't really find it. Color Graze, on the other hand, is building up his own flip as a midfielder, and now has it, popping this flow state, looking to push forward. It does time out, but he might not need it with how the side of Eternal Sovereigns are playing.
He might not end up needing it ultimately, but Color Craze did definitely need that flip. Takes Taco off of the map. A beautiful turret, though, is going to make it difficult to really make good use of this power play. But it doesn't matter. Color Craze apparently playing a KO Octavia, finding 2 KOs in this set alone, then giving them the first goal of this set.
Yeah, Color Craze looking like ZZZ out there momentarily with the Octavia Brawler, finding those KOs, and, well, there is one barrier traded now for Wochills. Wochills not really happy with the outcome of that set, but crucially, Aelira's stacks got reset once again.
Yeah, and that's just going to slow down the defensive mobility as well, right? Especially on something like the goalie, you're not always going to be able to find yourself a lot of strikes to get the stacks up again. But a little bit of a chaotic situation in the bottom is being able to get controlled by Taco just well enough to find the secondary and hit it right past Alonso. 1 goal away from taking game 1 here.
Yeah, 1 goal away from taking game 1, and, well, with that in mind, I think one thing I want to call attention to is just how well Hamster Quest has been using just his strikes to hit the core towards Color Craze so he can just continue to pump damage out onto this Octavia. Even if the Octavia has this Unstoppable, has the speed to dodge things, damage is damage, right? You're going to be able to get more things onto her, and, well, that's one barrier found. The second one could be found via a flip, and there's that flip. It finds it, an open net in favor of Eternal Sovereigns. They're looking for something here to finish it off, and they just might.
Yeah, the question is Color Craze going to end up using this flipped more on the defensive end or the offensive end? Because there's a lot of pressure being put onto the side of Eternal Sovereigns here. But Color Craze does recover some of their HP, which means maybe they can set themselves up. A flip coming out from Hamster Crest to defend this. A nice jump again from Hamster Crest, immediately interrupting this. Sovereign trying to do something against Aelir, but Aelir completely calm and collected, being able to clear that. Color Craze again, though, playing KO Octavia, finds the KO, and there's a lot of pressure on Wochills now. They do find the clear, though, which is very important and valuable time for them for Hamster Crest to come back onto the field.
Yeah, valuable time, but keep in mind, Hamster Quest, as he comes back onto the field, he comes back with only 0 stacks, and that might be very crucial, because keep in mind, if the side of Eternal Sovereigns wins this set, there is so much on the table for the Octavia to take.
There's a lot of stuff that could just make it so much more difficult to execute. Color Craze now 1 HP does flip in time to not get hit by that missile prop Atlas primary, but it still does get defended. And Color Craze, it's a really awkward amount of HP to be having left because you can't really do much, right? You're just kind of stuck trying to wait. But they do go into stagger eventually, and this set has been this point has been going on for a while now. Sovereign has flip, Alonso has flip, Hamster Quest has flip. We're just waiting for this to explode.
Yeah, and I mean, there's that flip. First burned out by Hamstercrest, second burned out by Alonso, looking for a pass. Doesn't really find it, and there's that barrier. It's finally opened up, but Sovereign, he's pushing forward with the flip. He wants to use it here. A great pass out by Color Craze, but not enough, and there's that flip. It's burned. It's burned for nothing, and a great dribble out by Taco means that it goes back forward to the side of Eternal Sovereigns. A great clear out, the hook away, both hooks committed, and now Ayla, she needs to find a way to defend it. Can Woe Chills close it out here? They might just be able to, as Taco pushes up with his flip, burns it as an evade, and doesn't really find anything off of it. The pass, it goes up to the top side. There's that expanse. It's burned. Sovereign, he needs to find something here, but the Atlas, she's so good. But there it is, the Rasmus, he finds it in the end with Whiplash. And that's Woe Chills taking game one.
Really good eye from Hamsterquest there to pass it up to Taco for it to be just in range for the secondary to reach. Not much you can do if you're Alonso there. Very long point, but in the end, the side of Woe Chills did find what they needed. And they take a decently convincing game one. There's a lot of good sides coming out from Eternal Sovereigns here, obviously. But in the end, the team play between Hamsterquest and Taco just made it so difficult to really execute their attacks the way they want to be. So well played from the side of Woe Chills.
Yeah, very well played, and I think one thing we can see, just looking at the redirects, I mean, redirects by themselves are usually not a good thing to analyze the state of the game, but you see Ayla, Lyra, and Sovereign have the lowest number of redirects for each team. What that means is the core is perennially on the side of Eternal Sovereigns, right? They just did not let it get to their own side, and I mean, of course, when they did, it usually resulted in some sort of score from Color Craze or Sovereign. But Hamsterquest and Taco just with a suffocating offense, and that's really what brought Woe Chills over the line.
Yeah, it's just so much pressure that they needed to defend against, and as good as an Asher is on the defensive end, there are limits to it. So, in the end, just overall very well controlled from the side of Woe Chills, but Only Village is a control map. It does favor control. What is less of a control map is the chaotic map that is coming up next in Taiko Temple. Ether, are you looking out for any specific comps or picks that they might be going for here?
I mean, I'm hoping we can see ZZZ in, because I love to see ZZZ's Luna on Taiko Temple, and I mean even the X, but especially the Luna, right? Just because ZZZ's Luna, obviously one of the best like KO players on one of the best KO characters. But assuming we don't see him in, we're probably going to see something a little bit more standard. I think Taco pretty comfortable on the Rasmus, and while I did mention earlier, right, Taco and Hamsterquest both being midfielders for Woe Chills, Taco also is a bit of a flex player. He is comfortable on these brawlers. He can play the Rasmus, the Kazan. I think he can play the X too, pretty all right. But it looks like ZZZ is coming back in, so we might see Luna Brawler.
There is a hope for it, and now all we would need is something like a Deadeye start, although then it's likely to get banned.
Yeah.
But we will see. I feel like Taiko is just always very interesting because a lot of different things can work, right? A lot of different comps are valid to be picked. So it's just a chaotic map overall, which means there's no really like true one answer. There's stuff that consistently works well. What you want to look for if you're playing on Taiko, right, is you're trying to control the chaos as much as possible. Or if you're going for something like KO comp, you're trying to enhance it to a point where the enemy just can't keep up. The question is, which team is gonna go for what?
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to say. I believe both of these teams want to go for general KO comps. But while I say that, it's probably just going to be Hamsterquest casually layering some damage while he can, right? To help ZZZ with this offense, and then ZZZ just playing the whole KO comp for the whole team. And then on the other side, Color Craze, Sovereign, both no strangers to playing damage. Alonso too, being, while he does play a little bit more of these lockdown defensive goalies, he can reinforce them in some ways, especially if he is picking something like the Mako, right? Giving more speed for stuff like the X to just run people down, or just perfect pitching and pumping out damage that way.
Yeah, and good thing you mentioned the X, right? The X is overall just such a strong pick for something like Taiko, especially if you have
Yeah.
something that can enable that speed, right? If you have it now in midfield, or if you have a Mako in net, X with movement speed is one of the most lethal characters, at least in my opinion. So would be very surprised to see X not go into any side of the draft here, either bands or a team. But I'm always down to see what people are cooking.
Yeah, I think most likely what's going to happen is the Asher is just going to be banned away from Woe Chills, regardless of what side they're on. Because
Mm,
even if they are on blue side, I don't think they'll really be willing to pick this Asher first pick.
mm,
Because I think Ayla Lyra would probably much prefer the Atlas, and ZZZ really just doesn't play Asher, as far as I know, right?
mm.
Um, at least I like to think that ZZZ gets a little bored on Asher, so he'd prefer stuff like the Luna, the X, right? Stuff where we can be a little have a little bit more fun, right? And I don't see Hamster Quest really picking up this Asher midfield, especially when ZZZ is going to be so KO focused. But on the opposite
Mm.
side, Alonso plays Asher, Sovereign plays Asher. Like it's such a good prio pick for Eternal Sovereigns.
Yeah, it just gives them so much value. It gives them flexibility as well, right? Because Asher is playable in net, Asher is playable in forward, and like you mentioned as well, it's even a midfield pick if executed correctly. So it does seem to be holding a lot of value because you're not really giving any info away when you do end up picking it. But that is yet to be seen. I'm also curious what the awakenings are going to look like because I feel like the awakenings are going to heavily influence what people are going to be picking for, right? If you have KO heavy awakenings, I feel like there might be more picks like a Finny, like a Luna, more picks like maybe even a Julie. I'm not sure if any of the players are fully
Yeah,
confident on a pick like that.
Sovereign's comfortable on Julie, but I will say his better picks or his other picks are a little better, right? But he is willing to pick it at times, and I think I have seen him play it in NASA before. Otherwise, hey, we could see something like an unstoppable spark of focus start, right? Or an unstoppable spark of resilience start, something just completely on the opposite side, right? We're not going to see any KO if that happens.
Mm.
Or we still very well might, but a little less so.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like if it does end up being a control heavy kind of awakening set, a pick that is, I don't know if it's undervalued over here as well, but I feel like Rune can actually do quite a bit of work on a map like Taiko. Again, not fully certain if anyone's going to be comfortable pulling this out though, because those pillars just they can be so oppressive on the offensive and defensive end to deal with.
Yeah, they can. And if we did have Taco in here, Taco is a very savvy rune, right? He enjoys that pick a ton. And I would say, even when it's not good, he still likes picking it. Hamster Quest a little less so, as Hamster Quest is typically known for stuff like the Estelle, the Juno, plays the Imi. I don't think Hamster Quest actually favors the speed that much, but his playstyle really suits itself to play for a
Hmm.
lot of these long range sniper characters, right? To make sure that he can impact the map from further away.
Yeah, most definitely. But do you have any awakenings that you're hoping to see? Is there like any pick that you're hoping for that might be getting enabled by a certain awakening? Because you can always dream, right? I've had it before where I was talking to my casting buddy about how
Hmm.
Octavia is such a fun character to play, and then suddenly you had a Chrono Boost start. Maybe we can just will it into existence.
Hey, I'm down for an Adrenaline Rush start. An Adrenaline Rush start sounds really fun here. I'm not playing, so I'm happy to see it, right? I would hate playing that Adrenaline Rush start. But ZZZ on the Luna, the X, really anything would be happy with the Adrenaline Rush start. Sovereign, another brawler who plays a lot to kill, right? He loves this X. He loves killing even on Asher, on Julie as well. Kazan less so because, especially after a lot of the nerfs, Kazan has lended itself to be less of a KO focused start. And, well, I'm feeling like Egoist today.
Yeah, it is a monumentalist. Oh, this could open up a few funny picks, right? Obviously, you're starting to look at it now. An arrow is also not a bad choice here. The NATO is very lethal with a starting awakening like Monumentalist. And even if you don't have a character that does well with Monumentalist, you have an egoist right there. You're gonna have evades
Yeah.
for days. You're gonna get speed for days. So this can kind of go both ways, I feel like.
Yeah, and I mean, well, you're gonna have evades for days. This also means that these KO comps, they have potential to struggle a little bit more, But on the opposite side, KO comps means you're going to be doing evade taxing, which means that there's going to be less egoist procs for the opposite side.
Most definitely, but the draft is starting to commence now. The Rasmus Band coming out from the side of Eternal Sovereigns here, just not really wanting to give that pick over to the side of Woe Chills.
Yeah, Rasmus Band and Woe Chills probably answering with the Asher Band. That's what seemingly makes most sense here. The Rasmus Band actually likely taken away from Ayla Lyra because it is, I would say, by far her best pick and something she is very comfortable on. Interested to see what Woe Chills bans here, and yes, it is that Asher, right? No Asher for Alonso or Sovereign.
Yeah, just taking out that out of the equation completely, right? The defensive and the offensive power that a pick like that can make, especially if you have something like the Egoist or potentially the Monumentalist in play. But the first pick does come out, and the Julie has been picked. Maybe I was foreshadowing, who knows?
Yeah, this Julie coming in for Sovereign, right? I guess recognizing that, hey, maybe the X is not the way to go if Hamster Quest might just play as well as he has and continue to beat Color Craze out in a lot of this midfield. Maybe we just fish for kills on Hamster Quest instead, right? And the Atlas looking to deny that, right? The Atlas with the Celestial Intervention looking to say, all right, Julie, you're not looking for those kills. Gonna make sure that you're gonna have to focus on something else, right? And we're going to see what the Atlas is paired with, right? Could be paired. And there's the Now, right? The Atlas Now. Interested to see if the Now will actually opt for Egoist or if she's just going to stick with the straight Monumentalist.
Yeah, those two picks really just setting a message of like, hey, if you're looking for kills, good luck. You can't really go through Stagger. We have a Now continuously healing up our team. You can't really go for edge kills either because Atlas is going to be there ready to deny it. So I do feel like this Julie pick and the comp from Eternal Sovereigns is going to have to pivot maybe a little bit more control than they would have liked to. And that Mako pick would kind of support that idea that they're now maybe changing it over to a more of maybe like a Kitten-esque comp, right? Having that speed boost, just enabling Julie, making sure she can dash punch away as many berries as possible. And I'm immediately proven wrong because a Vice has just been locked.
Yeah, I kind of expected the Vice to come in here, right? The Estelle was also a possibility, but I just thought that the Vice makes sense here because if you don't if you're not careful enough, the Atlas really cannot deny against all of these knockback KO attempts, and Color Craze, being a very big Vice player, should know basically how the exact distance at which you can KO from, right? And with this Vice, you can look for a lot of these knockback KOs as well. Now, we do see this comp rounded out by the ZZZ Dubu. I am really excited for this, as actually last week, when Woe Chills was on cast against Ember's Flame, we went to Taiko Temple, and I talked about it too. ZZZ has been playing some of this Dubu forward lately. He's been looking for kills with it, looking for a lot of goal attempts with it, and I was a little shocked to not see it then, but we're seeing it now.
And the Dubu, I feel like also just generally speaking, it's a strong pick on a map like this, right? It's so difficult to defend against, and you wouldn't really think of it as Dubu, but there's also a decent amount of KO potential, right? Those tofus coming out at the right angle can take someone off of the map very fast. So very excited to see some Dubu gameplay, and Dubu Atlas just always fun to see on the same team comp. I do wonder if that's gonna be both of them in forward though, or if one of them is gonna be in net. Most likely the
it'll
Atlas.
most likely be Atlas and Net, right? That's what makes the most sense here, just knowing the players. And well, hey, if Dubu forward is anything to go by, if yesterday's anything to go by, we might be seeing another loss for Woe Chills, right? Because it lost in NASA, it lost in EUSL. Maybe the NASA players can prove us wrong.
Maybe they just have that extra little bit of sauce needed to execute it correctly, but we do end up seeing full Egoists for the side of Eternal Sovereigns and Monumentalists on both Atlas and Now. So very much just playing to be that oppressive force with those huge Now mines and that extra big Atlas Cosmic Expanse.
But I think the other thing we might be a little interested to take a look at is, look at ZZZ's gear. He has pummelers.
Right? I did not even see that.
Yeah, ZZZ's opting for the pummelers while Sovereign's actually going slick kicks on this Julie, right? Which you'd think that might be a little bit backwards, but ZZZ is known for a lot of these KOs, and He loves to go for these cheeky ones, and now Hamster Quest, he's stuck on the opposite side of the map, waiting and trying to regen, and there's that barrier. We might just see the goal right here. A great defense out by Hamster Quest, but after all that healing he just pumped into himself, it's been undone, and now Ayla Lyra looks to heal him back up.
Yeah, more importantly though, Ayla Lyra did end up healing up Hamster Quest, but that means the Atlas ultimate's going to be in cooldown for about another 35 seconds. But those seconds can easily be reclaimed as the side of Eternal Sovereigns find themselves a first goal. Really well played in the end to just kind of control the core and set themselves up properly. And I'm seeing a lot of full energy bars, right? Color Craze has the flip, Sovereign is getting close to it, and that means we're getting close to an Egoist proc.
Yeah, we're getting close to an Egoist proc, and now a great dribble out by Ayla Lyra. She still loses that first barrier, and maybe the second is Sovereign might be looking for something, and there it is. There's that combo. The side of Eternal Sovereigns tries to look for something, doesn't really find it in the end, and, well, now Sovereign, he's moving forward with his Egoist proc. The Monumental is secondary, not enough as Sov with the dash, the kill, the goal. He finds everything.
Just so cleanly executed. The hit around Ayla Lyra there to take the first barrier, and then a clean dash together with the flip, being able to find a KO as well. The momentum is starting to look very much in Eternal Sovereign's favor, but it's not done just yet. Color Craze is getting a bit low. ZZZ with a flip on the Stubu is not going to be able to find the barrier just yet, though. A really nice dash punch from Sovereign there as well, opening up a little bit of a clear angle for Alonso. The back pass does end up coming out. Alonso trying to defend against the Stubu though, but that's just such a surprisingly difficult feat, because whatever can defend well can also attack well usually.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it so that things are locked into the corner, and there's that Julie. She locks that barrier up, and there it is. Sovereign waiting with this flip in front of the net, and that's a 3-0 set, convincing by Eternal Sovereigns. I'm not even sure if that was a minute.
I'm not sure either, honestly. I feel like the side of Eternal Sovereign's just been controlling this course so convincingly, and just kind of having the side of WoW Chills do what can't really be done, right? They have a lot of area to control the play, but they're not quite able to influence it properly, and it's not going to get any easier now that Sov picks up Fight or Flight to get even more speed.
Yeah, it gets even more speed, and now perfect form going rid of Vice. I think it's good for Vice, but it's also deny away from Atlas. Atlas still gets the rapid fire, and now I think they're leaving up the Super Surge potentially for Dubu. No, offs to the Prize Fighter instead, and the Aerials on Hamster Quest.
That could be interesting. Obviously, the Prize Fighter can be a pretty big issue if those stacks starting to get rolling, but I don't think ZZ was able to find a kill just yet. And almost ends up getting taken out themselves as well, as the Atlas ultimate does come out to save them. But of course, now in the corner, you are in a Mako versus a Dubu 1v1. Wall versus Wall. Which one's going to fall first? It was Alonso.
Yeah, Alonso falls first, but look at that damage. It just drops onto Hamster Quest, and the barrier also drops. So does Ayla Lyra, and so does the goal. Sovereign with these Egoist procs. He finds the flip kills and the flips to score right after.
Yeah, you can just really see the game plan from the side of Eternal Sovereigns is playing out pretty well, as Color Craze finds a beautiful kill on the side of ZZZ. ZZ now doesn't have any Prize Fighter stacks, but you can just kind of see the general trend of how these scores are being made, right? The side of Eternal Sovereigns is just continuously controlling the core, pulling the entire team comp from WoW Chills to one side, then having a nice quick side swap, getting Julie into the corner of those barriers. And there's not much you can do at that point. And overall, there's not much to do, because if you're starting to look at those levels, there's already a significant snowball that is happening.
Yeah, there's a 3-level difference between the brawlers, and, well, it's just a great defense coming out by the side of Eternal Sovereigns, and an even better offense. This damage, it just continues to get pumped. This core control, it just continues to get done, and ZZ, he's still not able to find these Prize Fighter stacks.
Yeah, and without the Prize Fighter stacks, obviously it's going to be even more difficult to find those KOs on the Stubu. He is standing on top of Alonso, trying to deny as much as possible of that range, but not quite able to do it. Hamster Quest just being played around with the Tycho speed, and Ayla Lyra sitting in essentially a 1v2 against Color Craze and Sov, as they find yet another really quick set. I feel like we've been in this match for like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and we're already 2 sets down.
Yeah, it's just absolutely brutal, and well, this Vice picking up the Unstoppable, absolutely insane to deny away from Ayla Lyra, right? You probably want something else for the Vice, but the Unstoppable just means that Ayla Lyra is going to continue to die from these flip attempts by Sov, and now Sov, that Spark of Strength, even more power, right? We're just seeing so much more damage and nothing really to answer for the opposite side.
Yeah, you do get the hotshot on Ilalira, which is a little bit of a saving grace, right? It's gonna allow for much stronger clears, maybe keeping the core onto the side of Eternal Sovereigns a little bit more. But overall, it's still like generally a pretty big win being the side of Eternal Sovereigns. But the prize fighter's starting to stack now. One kill was being found. Are they gonna be able to find a second one on Sov though, or not? They're very much trying to. But Sovereign positioning just well enough, but in the end does end up falling to the Atlas. Now, still a power play for the side of WoW Chills. Are they going to be able to find the second barrier, though? Or is it going to be held on to Alonso and doesn't find the clear in time as they're now in an open goal?
Yeah, in an open goal, but one barrier found for Eternal Sovereigns. Maybe soon to be a second as that secondary comes in, and now Strike War has to be won. It's won by the Expanse. The core needs to get forward to this Dubu, who looks for the roll, who looks for the plays, and there is that log, finds it through. Alonso's ego is proc burned, which means he doesn't have it for the next set.
I do want to point out how ZZZ is just mainly playing just to kind of annoy Alonso right now. If you paid attention last set, he was just standing on top of Alonso for as long as possible, making sure that no Mako primary, no Mako ultimate, no strike shots are finding their way to the core, which makes it so much easier for the side of WoW Chills to get an attack going if you don't consistently have long-range attacks flying towards the core as well. But 1-for-1 barrier now, really well found clear. Almost takes the second barrier, but the flip from Alonso does defend it successfully. ZZZ now in front of the barrier is able to find it in the end with a fortunate bounce and the Dubu primary. Open net now, and Hamster Quest does have a flip. Is he going to end up using it? He uses it and hits it straight through Alonso. Really good timing there, waiting out the primary, but Alonso not having time to execute the strike just yet.
Yeah, I mean, Hamster Quest, ZZZ, they're looking really good on this offense, and even Ilalira is doing pretty solid on this defense, making sure that Color Craze and Sovereign can't really find these barriers. She's buying enough time for WoW Chills to get things forward, and now ZZZ steps aside, grabs that orb, makes sure it's not there, and there it is. The double ego is proc. We see one barrier. Second barrier doesn't fall just yet, but Color Craze, he has this flip. He might want to use it, and it slips right past Alonso. ZZZ gets the second barrier for himself, and this could be the set 3 in favor of WoW Chills if the side of Hamster Quest and ZZZ can convert here.
Yeah, I feel like this hotshot pickup for the size of Ilalira just did so much, right? Because as of when before she was able to find a strike or an ability to clear the core out, it got immediately struck back by Sov or Color Craze in a proper position. Now with hotshot, that extra speed that the core has on it, that extra force, and on top of that as well, just having more abilities, period, just does so much for them. As ZZZ finds a beautiful KO on an Alonso with flip as well, as they're now in a 2v1 situation, or 3v2 situation rather. Sovereign almost getting the gold play, but even more of a gold play is Hamster Quest with that primary, reading Alonso's clear just correctly and scoring the third goal of the set. Third set that's 3-0, but the first set that doesn't go in favor of the side of Eternal Sovereigns.
Yeah, and I mean, all it takes is a trickle, right? Hamster Quest and ZZZ and Ilalira, they find it. ZZZ with 3 prize fighter stacks, he's first pick. What does he grab? He grabs the Egoist. He has Catalyst Egoist now for himself, and he's going to look really strong. And this Atlas, Missile Propulsion, that's also really good. The Julie gets Knife's Edge, the Mako gets Team Player, sure. But so many good options now for WoW Chills.
I think everyone's just honestly pretty happy with this draft. Everyone kind of gets what they want, but I do think that Catalyst Egoist, that is going to be something that you really need to be worried about, because now this Dubu is going to get procs quite a lot more often. Ilalira are doing really good to just farm that energy, get the flip to clear it, and now Color Craze also almost about to die. Really good ultimate though, saves them, but a nice angle on that primary from Hamster Quest does end up bouncing them off. ZZZ trying to set themselves up to get the score here, not quite able to find it just yet. Hamster Quest here to assist. They do find the barrier now, a 3v2 situation. Color Craze is about to respawn, but the strike from ZZZ gets it past Alonso just in time.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately for ZZZ, even though the kill was found on Color Craze, he doesn't actually get the prize fighter stack for that, so he is still sitting at 1. But I just want to call to the fact that Color Craze used that ult so well to make sure he didn't die, and he denied away that prize fighter stack.
Most definitely, but it's still an uphill battle. Sovereign, never mind, though, finds a beautiful KO to get a power play going. Now Color Craze jumping forward as well, trying to annoy Alalier as much as possible, as clean strike wars from Sov coming out to take these two barriers. They're holding on to their own barrier. Alonso trying to be a little bit more aggressive here. An Egoist proc does happen, but while that is happening, Sov again finds a really nice kill onto Hamster Quest as they're setting up properly and forcing it past Ilalira. The first set where both teams have scored at least once.
Yeah, where we might be finding ourselves in a little bit more of an even situation, but Hamster Quest continuing to die, continuing to lose those stacks. It's not really going to bode well for this Woe Chill side if that continues to happen. But hopefully maybe ZZZ can find more of these kills, can stack this prize fighter like he did last set, and a great clear found by Ilalira, and a great almost double barrier found by ZZZ, a great save out by Alonso. Both of these goalies putting in a lot of work.
Yeah, it seems to boil down to just who's going to be able to hold on more, right? Both of them are playing a lockdown goalie, and it's just so important that all of these abilities, they hold the value that they can have, right? Every single ability that is being wasted is an opportunity for the enemy to force it through you when you're not ready for it. Passing plays coming out from the side of Woe Chills. A great double ultimate almost forces it in, but not quite. Flip coming out from the side of CZZ, though, sadly missing the core as Ilalira is trying to clear it out. Sovereign getting really close to flip though, and that's going to be an Egoist. Doesn't matter. Dubu with the simplest but most effective combo of strike, roll, strike. Not much you can do against that.
Hey, I mean, when you have Hamster Quest as your midfield, and Ilalira with that rapid-fire hotshot missile propulsion build as Atlas is your goalie, ZZZ doesn't need to walk back. He can just sit in front of Alonso and just wait for those opportunities, and he finds one, but there it is, Hamster Quest. He dies, he loses that stacks, and now in a 2v3, it might be Eternal Sovereigns turning things around. ZZZ trapped in that baby cage, taking so much damage, healed up by the Celestial Intervention, but now Alonso, he's pushing up, he's looking for a pass, and he finds it up to Sovereign.
And more importantly as well, Alonso was able to hold on to the flip there, so they do have the opportunity to make sure make good use of something like a Mako flip with team player, which is going to immediately clear the core to the other side. Great passing play off of kickoff from Color Craze to Sovereign. Almost finds a barrier, but being defended just in time. ZZZ at a half HP has flip in front of the barrier, and is going to be able to find both. The back pass to Hamster Quest to keep core control. Are they going to be able to find their way past Alonso though? No, but Sov is going to be able to find a KO on... yeah.
On Hamster Quest, right? Finds that there, and there's that flip out by Ilalira, hits the barrier, and it's open net, and Color Crazy secures it. Eternal Sovereigns tying us up 1-1.
Yeah, just the set started to get really close towards the end, but it does seem like Sov was finally finding those KOs that you're looking for on Julie, and just was finding them over and over again. And those KOs were so crucial at being able to find this win and forcing a game 3 to occur.
Forcing a game 3 to occur, and well, the ZZZ Dubu maybe not panning out as well as we were hoping it to, right? And game 3, we are going to be going to Clarion Test Chamber. I'm excited for this, as this kind of opens up a lot more of these KO options. I want to see if we'll end up getting that Luna, or if Eternal Sovereigns might take us to a win, 2-1.
Most definitely. Gonna be exciting to see. Clarion, I feel like could always be it also can kind of swing both ways. What is going to be the better comp to be playing and to be executing? I feel like kind of similar to Taiko Temple. The Awakenings are going to be pretty big here. So I'm curious to see what the game plan is going to end up being for both of these teams going into this last map.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll be any different really for both sides. Both sides are going to want to find this KO. For different reasons, really. ZZZ, he just likes to find anyone to KO to make sure to get these power plays running and to get these just advantages for the team. And then on the opposite side, Sovereign, Color Craze, they want to focus on making sure Hamster Quest is completely deleted from the equation, meaning that there is no second member on the defense to help Ilalira.
Yeah, most definitely. But generally speaking, I'm just excited. This seems like a good series so far. Or it is a good series so far. So I'm just excited that we get another game of this, right? Just to see how they're gonna interact, see what the play is gonna end up being, and hope for maybe a few more spicy picks. I had a good fun with an Octavia in game 1 and now a Dubu in game 2. Well, maybe we can keep up this vibe. Maybe we'll see something interesting.
Hey, maybe we'll see something like the Kai Brawler in game 3, or I don't know, something fun, right?
Mm.
Besides that though, as a quick update, it looks like Pass versus Ball and Ballers has started. We are going to be on Taiko Temple game 1 for that, and looks like Pass has taken the lead, but nothing definitive yet, right? There's no games having yet been taken. So while we wait for that, that's the match I'm really excited to see. And then the final match of the day will be PLX versus Rose Petals, right? Another great match, right? Now, this early season, I think it's also pretty important for both Eternal Sovereigns and Woe Chills. Whoever takes it here, it is really important for this win because both teams are generally considered, at least based on where they qualified from, to be near the bottom of the pack, right? Because both of them
Mm.
qualified from the NASA LCQ. It wasn't directly through liftoff placement. So people are kind of looking down upon them as one of those easier wins. So as things stand right now, if they can find a win here, it'll be really good for their chances at playoffs.
Most definitely, right? Because being in that kind of same range or perceived to be in that same range, right? Those head-to-heads, they're invaluable. So you need to find those matches, you need to find those wins, and I'm sure both of these teams are going to look to optimize that as much as possible and play towards what they are going to be good at in this last game. Generally speaking, as well, obviously, it's it's never really set in stone, right? Even if teams are similar or perceived in similar strength, a lot of upsets can happen. A lot of different
Hmm.
results can end up being played out, but still, it is important to find those games. It's I personally always think a little bit unfortunate if you have these important matches early into the season because you just
Yeah.
don't quite know yet how it's going to end up playing out. So maybe you're putting too much importance onto a game that you shouldn't, or maybe you're not taking it seriously enough because you're not very aware of the process that this could be the match that ends up deciding playoffs or not for you. So I do hope that as everyone should always, everyone's going into this game with the utmost competitive spirit. And honestly, just excited. Again, I just like Omega Strikers. It's just really fun to watch.
Mega Strikers is always really fun to watch. Hey, that's the reason I've been sticking around here for 3 years and 11 months, right?
Keeping count.
Yeah, roughly so. I joined back December 2020. So I've been around since the very beginning. Excited to see just how the teams continue to develop, even if the game itself is been dwindling in its player numbers. We still see the competitive scene very alive and well, at least over here in NA.
Is that supposed to mean something? Am I supposed to understand something of that?
Hey, I'm just saying, I don't know how I feel about EU's current competitive scene. I
Yeah,
want
that's
to see
very
some of
fair.
the top team, a few more of the top teams back, right? We really just continue yapping while we're waiting for game.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, tell us about it. How do you feel about EU's competitive scene right now?
I mean, generally speaking, I feel like the competitive scene, obviously, it's not really comparable to where it was maybe a few months ago or a year ago,
Hmm.
as players are just kind of moving away, right? Obviously, we don't have the same kind of very well organized setup for tournament runs, and also just motivation for some people, because the play numbers are dwindling. But ultimately, we still have a lot of great teams around. Would I say they're necessarily comparable to the top level of NASA? I think that'd be a very bold statement. I feel like some of our teams could maybe scratch into Nassau's, but who knows? It's pretty difficult to really say, right? Because you're
Yeah.
cross region, you have different metas, you don't really have a direct like face off against each other unless someone takes up the journey to go to a LAN or something. So it's a lot of like just essentially just yap work. But I'm already very happy with where EU is right now because we do have a league that we're running, right? We do have tournaments that do run semi regularly. So honestly, just happy that we still get to play the game, and even more happy to see it thrive as much as it has in NA as well, right? Because having all these leagues to support is gonna it's just doing a lot for people to continue playing and to give motivation to stay within the game.
Yeah, I think giving that motivation is pretty important, right? And I like to cope by telling myself this, but hey, maybe Omega Strikers will have its big blow up a few years after its release, something like Among Us did, right? Because hey, Among Us came out in 2018. No one really knew about it until it just blew up in 2020. Otherwise, right? Hey, I think Melee might be a great example of this too, right? I think after some time, Melee also started to dwindle a little bit, but then it jumped back up, right?
Hmm.
Another game where there are people fighting, which is it's a very broad term to use. Omega Strikers might see a resurgence in the future, or it might just be the next Audi game, whatever they may be.
Yeah, but we're allowed to cope. We're still enjoying the game. We're not going to go anywhere. So again, also, and again, just very appreciative of everyone that's helping organizing this. You guys
Mhm.
are the goats.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Thanks once again to everyone. And there we go. We finally get into game. Clarion Test Chamber. Woe Chills on blue side on an explosive entrance. Big fish start.
There are a few picks that are going through my head. Obviously, Amy is going to like an explosive entrance, and Taro is going to like an explosive entrance. Generally speaking, a lot of people
Mm,
do. Kazan also an enjoyer of it to some degree. However, I'm pretty
Big
certain the Big
fish.
Fish would be a bigger
Yep.
prospect, hence the ban coming in here.
Yeah, Big Fish, a great pickup for Kazan. And I think while they did shut out Sovereign in the first game, he didn't have the size to really work with. And the size is a big factor of why Kazan can be so strong. And there's the X banned away from ZZZ, an interesting ban choice by Eternal Sovereigns. But I think if you have that X, it allows the side of Woe Chills to play a little bit more of the traditional comp. And there's that Asher on the Big Fish start picked away. I don't think this will go to ZZZ. It still could, but it's probably going over to Ayla Lyra.
Yeah, most likely with the Big Fish, obviously, it's going to be a force to be reckoned with on the defensive end. But the question is, how is the rest of the comp going to work out? And what is the side of Eternal Sovereigns going to answer? Again, the Vice being picked here. I mean, last game you saw the Vice; it had a lot of value for Color Craze. And especially with something like the explosive entrance, there's even more damage, more range on that pick. So the very good pickup for them to already get this early. We're interested to see what they're going to pair it up with. The Mako, again, just trying to be full defensive, also enjoying themselves, a little bit of explosive entrance or big fish, whatever is preferred.
Yeah, Mako, I think it's probably going to be the explosive entrance she opts for, and there it is. There's the Luna. We're seeing ZZ on the Luna, and then Rune. Oh, I think I know what's happening here. We're probably seeing Hamster Quest move over to goalie on this Asher, and we're going to see Taco come in for midfield on the Rune, and then the Luna coming in for ZZZ.
That is a very interesting comp. It's not something I would have thought up myself, but I can very much see the vision here, right? Because there is a lot of threat with a Luna that has more impact damage, that has an explosive entrance. Rune is going to be able to essentially take over the entire control as well. And lastly, as well on the side on Eternal Sovereign, Julie just being picked again.
Yep.
They're running back the same comp.
Yeah, I mean, once all those other picks are removed, I suppose there is the Rasmus there, but Sovereign probably feeling a lot more comfortable in the Juliet after absolutely demolishing with it on the previous game. So opts for that in the Big Fish start over the Rasmus. And with the Vice, who can look for some of these knockback KOs or just damage in general, it seems to be a solid pairing, at least in the eyes of Eternal Sovereigns.
Yeah, most definitely, but we'll have to wait and see how it actually ends up playing out as we're going into the game. Now, I am excited to see this matchup. I'm never really too certain about it myself of something like a Vice in midfield and how good it is, but obviously Color Craze has already proved me wrong last game. Very open to be proven wrong again. And I do feel like, though, does need to be said that Rune can be very oppressive on a map like Clarion, depending on which map rotations you're going to end up getting. Because if you look at something like the side street-esque ones, you know, the one that have the invisible things on the side,
Yep.
Rune can just shut that down completely with a single pillar.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the Awakening choices, we see Big Fish for both Sovereign and Hamster Quest, and then Explosive Entrance for everyone else. And looking at this, ZZZ did opt for the Pummelers, right? This Luna Brawler doing his thing, and is going to have to evade here to make sure he doesn't die now at threat of Julie if he does walk back. But we are seeing both of these ranged members on both sides tick over to level 2.
Yeah, well, barrier down on both sides. The Mako ultimate coming through, but not quite able to force it just in time. And Sov now down to a stagger. Or is he gonna end up dying or not? The Hamster Crest cleanly walking up and securing that KO, creating a power play. But the power play isn't long lasted as a beautiful angle from Color Craze comes out. Probably not intending to hit the core perfectly like that, but don't think they're gonna complain.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they're going to complain as they find the first goal like that. And now, ZZZ, he doesn't have much energy to work with. There's the double banish, dropped onto Color Craze, looking for damage on him to make sure he's either forced to use this flip or just unable to contribute with it.
Yeah, the ultimate coming out from ZZZ here, though, forces Color Craze to use that flip early. Taco getting a little bit damaged, but someone's getting more damage, and it's Sovereign sitting on 0 evades as well. ZZZ winning that strike war, able to take that barrier. One barrier going down on the side of Woe Chills, but as long as you have one to hold on to, it's perfectly fine. The KO being found on Sovereign ultimately as ZZZ is getting staggered himself, though.
Yeah, ZZ's getting staggered, but he dashes in. There's that banish onto Alonso. The nuke doing even more. And Alonso, he's staggered. He can't save it. And, well, even if he did save it, that whammy that came right after would have taken him off the map.
Yeah, although I think ZZ is pretty happy with the fact that Alonso didn't end up dying there, because Alonso is now on 0 evades, meaning he can do it just all over again.
Yeah, he can do it all over again. And I mean, you see, Color Craze, the same thing, also on 0 evades. Sov just barely having one, and look at the damage that's pumped out onto this Vice. She is so low, so staggered, and the Pillar actually saving her. As a great dribble out by ZZZ means he might just find this barrier. Flip missed, but the barrier still saved for now.
Hamster Crest finding a cheeky little strike shot primary kill though on Color Craze, creating this power play. Taco needs to be a bit careful, no evades, need to be careful around the edges if you're going up against something like Julie. An unfortunate clear angle though does lose the second barrier, and Color Craze with a beautiful ultimate is able to take ZZ off the map. The question is Taco going to be able to hold on to this midfield control just well enough? And no, it does go through, and a clean dash run from Sovereign puts it in.
Yeah, Hamster Quest, slight misplay on that missed strike shot and then missed primary. I think he's just, warming back up to his old, or I guess Goldie days from last season. He was midfielding this season primarily for Woe Chills and just warming back up. Now, Taco, they do take the double barrier for Woe Chills, looking to maybe convert and tie this up on this set. I'm interested to see if Woe Chills can.
Yeah, very much interested to do so, and they do end up finding it. And even if they didn't find it right there's just a lot of things going up against Eternal Sovereigns there, as Color Craze was also getting pretty low, so needed to be worried to not end up dying here. We're now at a 0.5 in the first set, and I feel like this is going to be a pretty important point for both of the teams here, as the Awakenings that are in rotation could do so much for both sides. More size than Hamster Crest, a Deadeye for Luna. It's all potential, so you really want to make sure that you get this set win.
And as it stands, it looks like Taco and Color Craze, or I guess maybe Alonso, are the ones who are the highest, right? So one of them will be getting something really good. And, well, one barrier taken a piece, and a missed pass out by Hamster Quest. He's punished for it as the barrier goes down, and a flip into the goal. MVP, I think, was Color Craze for the set.
Yeah, Hamster Quest not able to spot that Vice secondary just waiting down there, and Color Craze immediately punishing it, allowing Soft to set up perfectly. First pick going to Vice. There are a few things that could be interesting here. I wonder what they're gonna end up opting in for. Extra special going their way, more ultimates, 1-2 punch finding its way onto Rune, team player onto Asher. Twin Drive for Mako is going to help quite a bit as well, enabling that Julie. And a Spark of Strength on ZZD is definitely something to also be worried about, because it can change quite a bit.
Yeah, ZZZ getting the Spark of Strength, that's really good for him. Because, yeah, there are 2 Sparks left, but I think he'd much rather have the Spark of Strength than the Spark of Focus. While it does mean more rockets, each of your rockets are now even stronger, and ZZZ wanting these knockback KOs, I think he's really looking for them. Whoa! Hamster Quest absolutely murking Sovereign on the opposite side.
Yeah, Sovereign just forced to pay the evade tax almost immediately off of kickoff, and then with the great timing, just immediately being followed up with a lot of damage, allowing the side of Woe Chills to take 2 barriers as they're now going up against an open goal Mako, but a really clean attack pattern from Eternal Sovereigns coming out, not able to find the second barrier just yet though.
Yeah, not able to find the second barrier just yet, and now there it is, Alonso having to burn that energy burst, but the barrier taken on the opposite side. Taco and ZZZ looking for these dribbles, but it just goes to the opposite side of Great Banish out by Taco, but it's an open net, and I don't think this Asher really wants to be in this situation, especially against a Vice and a Julie, and there it is, the mist clear, Color Craze snipes it.
Yeah, Hamster Quest just not really able to find the clear stat he needs to. The side of Eternal Sovereigns just being all over him, just punishing every single mistake they see. And that's not something you want to be dealing with if possible. However, it is still very difficult to get past this Asher as long as barriers are still up.
Yeah, as long as the barriers are still up, and there it is, that nuke actually not enough to take out that middle barrier. Sovereign being the one who gets it, and he punishes ZZZ off this map because of it. Taco trying to control this midfield until ZZZ gets back. But there it is, Hamster Crest, he pushes forward with the flip. He wants to use this flip to kill Color Craze, who has no energy, but unfortunately just isn't able to. And, well, ZZZ respawns, and he might just finish it off there. Doesn't. And that means that Eternal Sovereigns are actually in a really great spot here.
Yeah, Hamster Quest is likely to have to use the flip here. Does end up using it to Vice Ultimate catching it though. Color Craze still holding on to life for about a minute longer than I feel like he should be able to. But the core doesn't find either side of the barriers just yet. The Rune Banish also just going out, and Color Craze just being bounced around. They just don't want to die.
Yeah, Color Craze, he's living for so long, and unreasonably so. There it is, ZZ's pushing up, he's looking for this barrier. Taco nearly gets it, but it's actually saved, and he's taken off. Color Craze actually doing the killing this time, and now he's looking to live. ZZ takes this middle orb, and he might just die here to Sovereign, who wants to use that size of ZZZ to his disadvantage, and, well, Taco comes back, but still one barrier alive for both sides.
Yeah, these barriers just do not want to drop. The clears coming out, not quite able to find a confirmed force, as Sov is now on no evades as well, being banished and likely dying here. Taco finding a beautiful kill on him. The barrier does end up dropping. Alonso does flip a little bit late. Clear comes out. Color Craze gets the orb. Is Color Craze going to be able to hold on long enough though in that midfield? No, the pass goes through, and Alonso, nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, in the end, it is Woe Chills that take that point. Such a labored effort by them, but they do find it in the end. Now, they're looking to see if they can find more and potentially bring us down to 1-1 in sets.
Yeah, most definitely, but there's also some important things happening as Color Craze is getting really close to a flip as well. Maybe they can use that to set themselves up for a clean barrier, or maybe even double barriers. Passing play is not answered properly. A really nice back and forth between Color Craze and Sovereign though take both barriers, and the Vice Ultimate using this expanse of the map, just confirming this goal. Just very well controlled from the side of Eternal Sovereigns.
Yeah, very well played by Eternal Sovereigns, and now Woe Chills in a bit of a tough situation. Color Craze Sovereign still fishing for more of these kills, right? They're looking to see if they can find these cheeky kills on the side of Woe Chills, and there it is, ZZZ taken off the map. I think that was the explosive entrance barely pushing the threshold over, and now Taco also staggered, also not wanting to die here. This passing play out by Color Craze and Alonso just means that the core just cannot get past them.
Yeah, they're doing the good job defending, but the thing is, there's just so much you can defend until eventually the Vice or the Julie will find a KO on you. So it's just so difficult to actually properly execute. ZZZ does find a crucial KO on Sovereign though. This can be the power play that they need. They need to score here to force a 0.5, otherwise they're going to go down 2-0 in sets, and you'd never want that, as Taco finds the angle to just slightly misposition Color Craze and Alonso.
Yeah, I was getting a little worried there for Woe Chills as Taco kept losing those interactions against Color Craze, and ZZZ had to be the one to walk back, to boost into Color Craze, to hit stun him and make sure that he couldn't interact with Taco there.
ZZZ though already on death's door again, no evades, a lot of damage being pumped out, but Taco finds a crucial banish and a crucial KO as ZZZ makes use of the secondary backwards back into safety. Hamster Crest saying, I'm the forward now, walking up with the Asher, with the flip, not able to get it past Alonso just yet though. Power play still happening, the Color Craze has now respawned, are going to be able to find the second barrier, the first one has dropped. ZZZ down to 1 HP again, has an evade available, but would prefer to not have to use it immediately, dumping a lot of damage onto Color Craze as well though.
Yeah, dumps that damage, and now Hamster Quest, he has to worry a little bit about this Julie looking for some sort of barrier, and there it is, ZZ, he finds the second barrier, it's finally open net for the Eternal Sovereigns, but Color Craze and Sovereign, they want to answer back, they want to make sure that this doesn't go to an even set.
Color Craze needs to be a bit careful though on a stagger with one evade. They do end up finding the KO on ZZZ, which can enable a power play, but still need to be careful with that positioning. One rune pillar at the wrong angle, and you're out. As Soft does a really nice redirect into punch to confirm the barrier, wow. And a clean hold with the ultimate as well to flip it right in. Excellently executed from the side of Soft.
I mean, Sov, he just does it all. He finds the dash strike, he finds the flip, and now Eternal Sovereigns are up 2-0 in sets.
And that does so much for you, on top of the fact that you again have a Vice with the first pick, and there is a stagger to be picked up to deal with that issue of just consistently being staggered, consistently being low. The Rapid Fire does find its way over to Hamster Quest, but I feel like that's a small price to pay for a second Spark on Sovereign, now having cooldown and agility.
But look, on the opposite side, Rapid Fire, for the Asher, Siege Machine for Rune, and the Prize Fighter for ZZZ. If ZZZ can continue to find some kills without dying, he might actually be the turning point. And we saw it last game, right, with the Dubu. He got the Prize Fighter, and he nearly turned the game around. It's just the fact that the Vice Julie continued to find the kills on the opposite side.
Yeah, most definitely, but those KOs are not going to come easy with the Juliet now looking at a base speed of 510 and the Stagger Swagger on Color Craze just making stagger KOs basically not impossible, but rather difficult, especially if you're playing with a Rune as your midfielder. The core bouncing back and forth, Taco saving it after Sovereign finds again yet another crucial KO. ZZ pumping out the Luna ult, trying to intercept, but the core does bounce through. Color Craze's ultimate almost confirmed the goal. Taco down to 1 HP, staggered, no evades. This is just so difficult to execute. It feels like the set of Woe Chills just aren't allowed on the map.
Yeah, Wocho's not allowed on the map, and there it is. Sovereign's the one who's not allowed on the map, and there's a Prize Fighter stack for ZZZ. He does find it. Taco dribbling, trying to get the pass for ZZZ. There's the flip out from Alonso. Does buy space for the Eternal Sovereigns, but that middle pop is not what you want. A great strike war won by Color Craze, and Color Craze resets the Prize Fighter stack. Sovereign looking to take off Taco, but there it is. Color Craze is moving forward. This Asher might struggle on this defense, and she cannot when the pass comes up top.
Yeah, that core just snuck its way right through, and it's just so difficult to defend at that point. And that is the first goal of this set. The side of Eternal Sovereigns only need to find 2 more to get a convincing 3-0 victory here. But are they going to be able to find it? Sovereign getting really low, a lot of damage dump. But while that is happening, a beautiful KO being found by Color Craze on Taco there to get yet another power play going for him. A nice strike shot interrupts Hamster Quest defense as early as they can, and just clean strikes and ability usage just forces it right through.
Yeah, this Vice Julie just figuring out a way to get past the Asher. I just feel like this Asher is also just missing a lot of abilities she shouldn't be, and, well, that's what happens, right? When you miss those like that, the Vice Julie will be able to convert, and now we have to see if Eternal Sovereigns can close out here, or if Woe Chills can find a way back into the game. And there's the double barrier. It's an open net now for the Eternal Sovereigns. They might find it here. The pass, the kill, out by the Luna. The Luna getting the Prize for her stack, and she's looking for a way to convert here. There's that big orb out by Taco, looking for some sort of pass up to ZZZ. ZZZ winning the strike war. Alonso clears it up to him.
Really, really huge KO being found there for the side of Woe Chills, allowing them to take this point. But there's still plenty to worry about. Sovereign is just about 1 evade away from getting flip. Alonso gets their flip now. So you do need to be careful. They can very quickly just shift. A beautiful clear through the Rune Pillar, though. Does defuse that situation, and a barrier does end up dropping on the side of Eternal Sovereign.
Yeah, it does drop there, and we might find another one as this great pillar up this top side. It is blocked away by Alonso's drum and bass. And now Hamster Quest, he loses the first barrier. ZZZ is also looking pretty low. Great evade to make sure he stays alive.
Yeah, the Rune Pillar's sadly just barely missing, but the core does find its way up to ZZZ again. He's not quite able to translate this though. Flip being used by Alonso. Clean defense from Hamster Crest. Still holding on to a flip if needed. Sovereign trying to fish for a KO. They're not quite able to find it though. Taco needs to be worried about these edges with no evades. However, if the Julie Dash Punch is down, he can be a bit more ballsy. ZZZ though finding a massive KO on Alonso, and they need to take advantage of this now to force a goal 5.
Yeah, but Color Craze, Sovereign, they both have the flip. Taco, he wants to burn it, and he does. He makes it so that Color Craze doesn't have it, and there it is. Sovereign uses his as well. They don't have it for this offense, and an open net means that Wochos might be able to find it here. A great Strike War win forces Hamster Quest to use the flip, and now Sovereign, he's poised for it. Oh no, this is a 1v2, but Taco, he finds the out clear, and he finds the shot. We are 2-2 on set 3.
Yeah, and you can really see the value of the team player there. Hamster Crest just finding those quick and easy clears to immediately start up an attack on Alonso again. There's only so much you can defend against. Now, Color Craze not having any evades available to them might be a bit dangerous as ZZ finds a huge rocket into dash combo. Power play now for the side of Wochos. Are they going to be able to find any barriers though? The side of Eternal Sovereigns are holding on pretty well. 1 barrier down, 2 barriers down. Is ZZ going to be able to convert this to a goal as well? He is beautifully set up with that bounce, scoring the 3rd goal of the set and giving themselves their first much needed set win. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff still here, by the way. There's a vessel.
I said it last time. All it takes is a trickle, but it might just happen this time as ZZ now gets the Spark of Resilience. This denies it away from the Julie, who would get 3 sparks, but he also gets 2 sparks himself. Right?
And one of those sparks is strength. Oh.
Yes. But Julie gets the Egoist. Still very good, right? And I don't know what Taco will go for here. Maybe the stacks, maybe the missile prop could be prime time. Also, the Unstoppable makes it so that Alonso doesn't get it. And, well, this Vice gets Vice gets Fight or Flight, which could mean that there is some poor control aspect in being able to juke out the members of Wochos.
Yeah, but most importantly of it all, there was another set to be played for the side of Wochos. So they are very much looking forward to trying to get this going now, as both teams are 1 barrier down. The second barrier ends up dropping on the side of Eternal Sovereigns. Open net situation. Taco needs to be a bit careful though. Doesn't have any evades and is pretty low. ZZ also doesn't have any evades. Is a little bit more healthy though. So it's pretty fine. ZZ almost finding another K on Alonso. As Hamster Quest misstrikes and drops the second barrier. An open goal situation for both teams here. And a beautiful rocket just sneaks the score right past Alonso. 1-0 for the side of Wochos.
Yeah, 1-0 for the side of Wochos, and hey, maybe the tempo might have swung in the opposite direction. Now, Taco ZZ, they're looking to keep this going. Sovereign is looking with this flip, right? It's almost up, and that would mean the Egoist that procs, and potentially for something on the offense here.
Yeah, a clean dash from ZZ takes the first barrier as well, as now both teams are looking to hold the bottom barrier. Hamster Quest doing a really good job defending though, but the core finding its way right past. And Color Craze finding a beautiful KO on ZZ as well. Power play for the side of Eternal Sovereigns though are going to be able to do anything with it. Color Craze is getting close to flip. Are they going to even have to use it? No, Sovereign finds a beautiful dash punch to score Hamster Quest together with the core.
Yeah, I mean, he finds it, but crucially, ZZZ down to 0 prize fighter stacks. He has to find a way to bring it back, and we saw it before in the Dubu game. We saw him farm up some stacks in this game, but we'll have to see if if he finds anything this time.
Yeah, it is very much a scaling the Awakening, but what is more scaling is the Egoist directly in front of the goal. But a beautiful pillar from Taco is able to hold on to it. Is he going to be able to defend it though? No, Sovereign finds the punch, and we're now sitting at match point for Eternal Sovereigns.
Yeah, and well, Eternal Sovereigns, they bring themselves up to match point. They're in a very good position to potentially take this game, and now Sob almost finds the kill on Taco. Taco takes the damage and finds the return kill on Sovereign. But keep in mind, Alonso, he still has this full stacks, and there's another kill. The prize fighter stacks refunded for ZZZ, and he's looking to take this set back. And now, Good clear attempt, actually, by Alonso. Buys time for now, and he still has these stacks alive, right? ZZZ, he wants to take them off, but isn't finding it just yet. And there it is. Taco's taken off the map, but traded for barrier. I think Wochills is happy with that. But not if the breakthrough goes offside, and there it is. It's an open net for both sides. We have match point for Eternal Sovereigns. They want to look forward here, and Hamster Quest barely lives. There's the double banish. Color Grace might be taken off the map, but the rocket, it takes it.
ZZZ playing that so well to just continuously threaten that bottom area, making it so difficult for the side of Eternal Sovereigns to really get an attack going, forcing this 0.5, and we're again in a situation where Wochills needs to find a goal here to stay in this game, but it's looking increasingly difficult as Sovereign finds a beautiful 2 barriers, has a flip in front of the net, and immediately forces it past Hamster Quest. GG's, well played, Eternal Sovereign.
Yeah. Eternal Sovereigns taking the crown over Wochills. They find that game. We're up 2-1 now, and well, that was an almost impossible situation to defend. You have the supernova in your face. You have a flip in your face. I don't know what you're supposed to do as an Asher there.
Yeah, there's really no counterplay at that point, right? The best thing you can say at that point is, well, shouldn't have let the core get this deep in the first place. And if you already reached that point, there's not much you can do. Either way, though, really great showing from both of the teams. Eternal Sovereigns being able to edge it out in this last game now to find this match win and this ever so important head-to-head win against Wochills. But definitely a good showing for both of the teams, nothing to be embarrassed of.
Yeah, I think both of these teams definitely played their hearts out, and I think for Wochills, right, despite the fact that they did have this rotating roster played through all 3 games, I think that they can be satisfied with how they performed, even if they didn't get this win and are now sitting down at 0-2 at the start of this season. But I think Eternal Sovereigns is very happy, right? They went to 3 games versus PPL last week. Once again, went to 3 games, but this time they took the win.
Yeah, most definitely. That's going to be a good sign to start the season already, right? PP Legends being one of the strongest teams that we do have in NASA. To going close against them last week is a massive upside, and now finding this win against Wochills as well. It's just really a statement kind of series, both of them, right? So it's something that you can be happy about. It's something that you can take on into the next week as well and take as a motivation to make that run into playoffs.
Yeah, and then on the other side, right, the next match we have today is Pass versus Ball and Ballers. That's not going to be on stream, but just for the record, Pass is up 1-0. They did 3-0 their game 1 on their map pick. And then we will be ending off the day with PLX versus Rose Petals. But I think that's about it for us, right? Is there anything else you want to say to the viewers before we hop off?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And secondly, do stay tuned, right? Another series, PLX versus Rose, is going to be an exciting series, so I'm sure you do not want to be missing out on that. And as always, Betsy's not doing God's work, having a lot of competitive Omega Strikers, so do stay tuned. And yeah, great series. Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to be here too. And well, with that, thank you everyone for stopping by. It was a pleasure having you. And we'll see you next week for NASA, and I guess ISS OSAS before that. But with that, that's it from me and Sloth. We'll be signing off.